Welcome back. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome inside the Macon Centreplex here in Middle Georgia, where the Macon Mayhem, for the first time in 6 months, will square off. Here at the onset of our 5th anniversary season in Macon, I'm Alex Von Coydel. Thanks for joining us, everyone. It's been a long, hot summer here in Georgia, one which the thousands of raucous fans in this building are surely happy has come to an end tonight. A new chapter in Mayhem history will begin, and it will be up to the team in the dark blue and red sweaters to show what they are made of and ultimately bring another championship back to the city of Macon. Leo Thomas returns to the bench as the head coach. He led the Mayhem to a 27-24-5 record during his first year as the team's bench boss, won the President's Cup back in 2017 as an assistant coach, and is now hoping to win it as a head coach. He will be joined on the bench by second-year assistant Ryan Michael, a former Mayhem defenseman who's got a nice returning slate of experienced blue liners under his belt to kick off this season. To name a few, Jarrett Cupp, Zach Urban, Larry Smith, and Nick Minerva will all be dressing for the Mayhem this evening. Tonight's opponents, the Fayetteville Marksmen, have had their struggles in this building in recent years. Though they have taken drastic steps forward as a winning organization, they've dropped 10 straight games played here at the Macon Centreplex. They do not enjoy playing in this building. A few players to watch for from both sides. Jimmy Soper and Stefan Timofeyev both linked up to score the Mayhem's lone goal of the preseason. Their line looked extremely sharp. They will be line mates again tonight with veteran centerman Josh Cousineau lining up in between them. Cousineau will be sporting the number 7 this evening for Macon, making his Mayhem debut, the SPHL veteran. Josh Keplinger, also a marksman killer thus far in his early career. He broke a record against them last season and scored 8 points in just 3 games against Fayetteville. He is somebody who his opponents will need to keep a very watchful eye on tonight. Keplinger will line up alongside Caleb Cameron and Danny Caesar. As for Jesse Calicky and company, Travis Jake, the reigning SPHL Defenseman of the Year, is suited up for the Marksmen. Sporting the number 14 and an A on his sweater, he's always dangerous, an exceptionally mobile defenseman. Look out for Travis Jake, the Boston College product, if you're a Mayhem fan. Also, Max Cook, recently appointed captain, nearly tallied an assist per game against Macon last season, and Brian Bowen led the Marksmen with 44 points on the campaign. The ex-Pensacola Ice Flyer, number 12, also somebody worth watching if you're a Mayhem supporter. They are your players to watch tonight. Let's take a look at the 3 keys of tonight's game. Number 1, setting the tone. Goes without saying, folks, this is the first game of the season. First game in the SPHL, really, if you account for the time change. So the Mayhem have got to set the tone early. They cannot wait and allow this game to really dictate itself. They have to control the pace right off the bat. Secondly, staying disciplined. Fayetteville, certainly a team that knows how to get under its opponent's skin. Did that quite a bit last season. You may recall towards the end, it was in March of last year. If I'm not mistaken, it was March 1st. It was a Friday night against Fayetteville. There was a bench-clearing line brawl that resulted in several injuries, a number of suspensions, and ultimately more penalty minutes than one could count. So the Mayhem have got to keep a cool head tonight. It's very easy for that to not happen when playing against Fayetteville. Unnecessary penalties, it could be the death of the Mayhem tonight if they're not careful, so they've got to watch their discipline. And finally, scoring the first goal sort of walks hand in hand with setting the tone. This is a game in which scoring the first goal is going to be even more important than usual. Last season when the Mayhem scored the first goal, in the first half of the year, they were unbeaten when that was the case. So, scoring first and scoring often, preferably, those are your 3 keys of tonight's game. As always, folks, before these games start, we're going to bring you an interview with the head coach of the Macon Mayhem, Leo Thomas. That is coming your way momentarily on SPHL Live and on YouTube. Keep it right here, folks. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, welcome back to our pregame show, folks. We're so happy to have you with us here for our home opener in our 5th anniversary season. As always, I'm joined by the head coach of the Macon Mayhem, Leo Thomas. Coach, this is the 5th anniversary season in Macon, like we said. Begins tonight. You've been here for 4 of those 5 seasons. What does this year in particular mean for the organization?
It's huge. It's obviously huge. Hockey's come a long way here in Macon over the last 5 years, and I'm just happy to be a part of it here in my 4th year and this 5th year in existence. So, the ultimate goal is to try to bring that championship back here to Macon. So.
Definitely, and you've had a pretty good chance to look at this team so far, about a week or so since most of the players started arriving, a little bit longer. What kind of stands out to you as one of the most glaring differences between this year's squad and last year's?
It'd have to be just the overall leadership, guys that have played in this league a long time or for a few years or more. And I look around the names of our forwards and the few D that we have back there, and there's a lot of experience and leadership. Guys that have gone through those tough battles and won championships and stuff like that. So that's the most glaring thing I see now. And the way the guys compete in practice and stuff like that's been really, really impressive and a positive thing leading into this weekend. So.
Now, speaking of leadership, you named your captains officially this morning. Tell us about the decisions that you made.
Yeah, no, it's, I think P-Rog's the guy who's been here before. He's shows what it takes to be a leader, and he works hard in practice, and guys follow suit. And, guys like Sumi, who's back for his third year or so, and already had the A last year. And I think with Cam and Soper, those are kind of two younger guys who've proven themselves over the last few years and have that presence in the locker room and also on the ice and practice and stuff like that. So that's kind of the way I went. But again, I have, another 3 or 4 guys who have been a captain in this league before or have wore a letter. So the leadership shouldn't be a problem in our room at all. So.
Without a doubt, and that bodes well for the new additions to the team. Speaking of, there's quite a few of them. Several players who are going to be making their professional debuts tonight for the Mayhem. Darius Davidson, Stepan Timofeyev, and Renee Hunter. They're all in the lineup tonight for what will be their first professional game. Just kind of go over some of the qualities you expect them to be able to bring to the table this season.
Yeah, for them, it's just getting their feet going, and first couple shifts just play real simple. But all 3 guys are capable of playing at this level. They've showed it in practice, and they're smart players. Each one brings kind of a different element, and that's why they're here. And they all looked good in preseason game as well. So just for them to get that first period under their belt, and I'm sure they'll calm down, get comfortable as the game goes on, and we'll see what they can do.
They did certainly look good in the preseason game. Excited to see numbers 27, 12, and 4 suiting up for the Mayhem tonight for the first time in this uniform. The 3 of them. Rennie Hunter, by the way, his parents in all the way from Ebb and Flow, Manitoba. A long haul to come watch their son make his professional debut tonight. An exciting weekend for Rennie Hunter. Last question I have for you, Coach. Fayetteville has historically struggled in this building, especially over the past few years here. But we saw exactly how competitive those games were last season against them in this building. There weren't any blowouts like there were a couple years ago. A much upgraded squad from the year prior. How is that team looking heading into tonight?
Yeah, I think we talked about this before. Every team's gotten better over the summer, and Kalecki and Melkert have done a good job recruiting and putting together a pretty good team. Obviously, we haven't seen them yet. This is strictly off roster and names, but we can't take any team lightly in this league, especially in our home opener. And they're going to come in hungry. They're obviously going to want to spoil our opener. So we just got to be ready for everything, and play a hard-fought game, and come out with the W.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck out there tonight.
Thank you, man.
That's Leo Thomas, the head coach of your Macon Mayhem, heading into the home opener here on our 5th anniversary season. This has been your pregame show. We'll be back in just a moment with starting lineups and more right after this. Keep it right here on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Okay, well, welcome back, everyone. We hope you enjoyed that exclusive interview with the head coach of the Macon Mayhem, Leo Thomas, in his 2nd season as the head coach, 4th as a coach in Macon overall. Former SPHL player, idolized Jerome McGinley growing up, sort of modeled his game after him as well, from what I've been told by players and fans alike. He was a very scrappy, hard-working, hard-nosed kind of hockey player. He was very tough to play against and exhibited leadership qualities. Former captain of the Mississippi River Kings. And he sort of leads his team the same way, right? He has a similar kind of style behind the bench. He likes his players to play the way he did. And tonight we'll see if they can pass the test here on opening night. And exceptionally important opening night. This is our 5th anniversary season in Macon beginning this evening. A slight change on the schedule going forward. For those of you who haven't noticed, all Friday night games this season will begin at 7:30. All Saturday night games will begin at 7 o'clock. Last year it was 7:30 across the board. This year we decided to change it up a little bit. Makes things easier for folks who don't want to get home super late. And the reason it's 7:30 on Fridays is because obviously we want to give people plenty of time to go home and do what they need to do after work and after school and get themselves ready. We don't want to rush them into the building too early. So that's the rationale. And if you want the full details on the schedule for the upcoming 2019-20 season, visit our website, MaconMayhem.com. You can check out all the offers that we have. Speaking of which, the same group package still available this season. If you're looking to come out to a game as a group of 10 or more, $13 tickets plus free hats and an experience upgrade. You really can't beat that deal. We also offer the same fundraiser that we did last season. You buy tickets from us for $10 each. You sell them for $15, and for each ticket you sell, you keep the remaining $5 for whatever cause you like. It's a great way to raise money for your organization, school, church, you name it. Again, for more information, visit our website, MaconMayhem.com. Tonight will be extremely important for both of these sides. One side hoping to lift a curse that's plagued them for the past 2.5 seasons. Fayetteville has not won a game in this building since February of 2017, which is hard to think about. It's crazy to think about when you saw what they were able to do last season. They qualified for the playoffs for the first time in 2 years. They had a much improved coaching staff, a much improved blue line, a much improved forward crew, a much improved goaltending, you name it. They were just better all the way around. And yet, in Macon, they were not able to get a W. They were fairly even in terms of the season head-to-head series. The Mayhem had a slight edge, but in this building it was not even close. They were 0-4-0. So, and before that they weren't able to get 2 points either. So for whatever reason, the Marksmen have just struggled in this building, but they're hoping to change that tonight. All coaches will tell you the same thing. Statistics like that never really matter too much, and we'll see if it matters tonight or not. But regardless, Leo Thomas and company will have their hands full. The Mayhem with lots of veterans this year. He alluded to it, the Mayhem head coach did during our pregame interview, one of whom, Stephen Pirog, was just officially named as the team's 4th captain in franchise history this morning. Stephen Pirog, wearing the number 11, returned from the ECHL's Greenville Swamp Rabbits, officially re-signed in Macon this summer, and it was a huge boost for the fans who were not expecting to see his name back in a Mayhem sweater anytime soon, if ever. Now the referees are skating onto the ice for the first time tonight. Tonight's referee is J.R. Strager. He will have control of this game. Lining up alongside him, his linesmen, Dan Fendius and Vinance Lorenz. So along with Pirog, the leadership core consists of Staffis Soumalides, who, like Pirog, won a championship in this city a few years ago, back in 2017. Was a big part of that roster that helped the Mayhem win it all in just their 2nd season in Middle Georgia. Along with Staffis, it will be Jimmy Soper, the Waterloo, Ontario native, who was just recently cut by the ECHL's Newfoundland Growlers. He was one of the last players sent down from an ECHL camp. He was very close to making that roster. A late addition to the Mayhem training camp, but they're back to see him, or they're happy to see him, rather, back in a Mayhem sweater. He will be sporting the number 13 this season, Jimmy Soper, and for the first time in a Mayhem uniform, will be sporting the A on his jersey. And finally, Caleb Cameron, who was also somebody who was a big question mark over the offseason. We weren't sure if he'd be coming back or not. He had actually explicitly stated he would not be after last season was over. He didn't plan on coming back. There was something which happened at his job up in Canada, in which he had this opportunity to come back and play one more season before he calls it quits and hangs up the skates for good. So we're all ecstatic to have Cam back in the fold as well. He's somebody who last season had a very good season, don't misunderstand me, but the stats were never quite reflective of what he did. And I think that might have been sort of bugging him a little bit. It might have played a factor. I don't think it necessarily did, but he was such a critical player for the Mayhem last season, and the point total just was never really there what you would have expected it to be. So I think the puck just didn't bounce his way a lot of the time. He caught some tough breaks, and this season he's hoping to end his career on a more suitable note. The Mayhem starting lineups will be announced momentarily, as will the Fayetteville Marksmen. Our regular public address announcer, folks, by the way, Charles Olson, is not here tonight. He is running for mayor in Macon, so obviously he's got a prior engagement that's more important than this, so he's not here, and taking his place is our DJ, John Reagan, who does an outstanding job with the music each and every night. He will be making the announcements throughout this weekend. And so far, John Reagan has done a pretty darn good job of seamlessly filling the void left behind by Charles Olson, the longtime arena voice of the Macon Mayhem. We wish him all the best in his run for public office. And Mac, the beloved mascot here in Macon, will skate onto the ice for the first time tonight, waving the American flag, as he so often does. We've yet to hear the starting lineups from Fayetteville's side. Hoping to catch an earful of it from John Reagan when he makes the announcement. And he's going to announce every player on the roster one by one, as is the custom here for the home opening night typically. Alex Fatinos out of Toronto, Ontario, skating out first. He will tonight serve as the understudy to Kevin Etma. Larry Smith sporting the number 2 from Buffalo, New York. His second season with the Mayhem, second full season. Led the team in plus-minus last season with a plus 24. And here's Oleg Kolomin, the 6'3" Russian blue liner, who I was told would be a scratch tonight. We'll see if that's the case. But really impressed during the preseason game out in Birmingham, as did Rennie Hunter, whose parents are in all the way from Ebenflow, Manitoba, 2.5 hours northwest of Winnipeg. Quite the haul. Josh Cousineau, the 5-year SPHL veteran, sporting the number 7, flanked by Jimmy Soper and Stepan Timofeyev tonight. And one step under him on the depth chart, Caleb Cameron out of Sundridge, Ontario. Spoke about him earlier in the pregame show, wearing the A on his sweater for the first time in a Mayhem uniform. Stepan Timofeyev, the FHL's Rookie of the Year last season, wearing the number 12, a promising career for the young Russian sniper. And on his left this evening, Jimmy Soper, the man he assisted in the preseason game for the Mayhem's lone goal of the exhibition contest. Timofeyev and Soper linked up quite well throughout that game. Marcus Ortiz out of Garland, Texas, came to the Mayhem relatively late last season, right around the trade deadline. He was released from Knoxville and promptly claimed off of waivers by Leo Thomas and the Mayhem. He's excited to start his first full season here in Mactown. Sean Lynch, sporting the number 18, Syracuse, New York native. Got a taste of pro hockey late last season, making his first professional season starting tonight. Danny Caesar, similar story to Marcus Ortiz, the ex-Knoxville Ice Bear, highly skilled forward. And Josh Keplinger, who we talked about earlier as well, number 28, left winger. Absolutely dominated in his games against the Marksmen last season. Ryan Devine, the last player to join the Mayhem. The former Pensacola Ice Flyer, and then Nick Minerva, sporting the number 96 this season. Quite the change from the 5 that he wore last year. And now the starting lineup's being announced. Zach Urban, the Calgary native, returning for his 3rd season in Macon. He will be logging a lot of ice time on the blue line, as will this man, Jarrett Cupp, who will be on his left flank tonight. Jared Cupp of the Mayhem defenseman dressed tonight was the team's leading scoring defenseman last season, was second behind only Kristaps Bazovics, suited up for 55 of 56 games. Stephen Pirog, to a loud round of applause, skates out. The captain of the Macon Mayhem, the fourth in franchise history. You'll hear from him during the first intermission of tonight's game. On his left side, the big Czech power forward Stathis Soumalides. Spent a good bit of time in the ECHL last season with the Florida Everblades and the Norfolk Admirals. Returns to Macon with the hopes of bringing the city back a championship like he did a few years ago. On their right, Darius Davidson, American International College product. Another late addition to the team's training camp. Impressed greatly during the preseason game out in Birmingham, a highly skilled right winger. And finally, the starting goaltender tonight, Kevin Etma, wearing the number 35. Adrian College standout will be the man between the pipes for Leo Thomas and the Mayhem. An exciting scene here in Macon. The 2019-20 roster just announced, one player at a time, and done so very well by our fill-in public address announcer tonight, John Reagan. The starting lineup for Fayetteville will be read to you momentarily, but first we're going to take it down to the ice level. Gray Elementary School will be singing the choir from Gray Elementary School will be singing tonight's national anthem. We'll be back in just a moment, folks. Keep it right here. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network.
Thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the playing of our national anthem performed by Gray Elementary School.
Well, an excellent job done by the chorus over from Gray Elementary School, who, by the way, folks, are here with an enormous group, so a well-deserved stick tap for them. They've brought seemingly the entire school with them tonight. It's a group of 180 people from Gray Elementary School. We had a great time skating with them yesterday afternoon. Having some of those kids for the first time in their lives put ice skates on and skate around. That was a lot of fun. That was their school field trip that they did yesterday. So props to Angela Watts from over at Gray Elementary School for getting that all situated. And the kids had the time of their lives. I had the pleasure of being out there with them for a while, skating around. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully tonight they have just as much, if not more fun than they did yesterday. And tonight they're also going to be taking part in one of the intermission games. They're going to be doing musical chairs. They got the high five tunnel experience as well, so a fun night on hand, without a doubt, for Gray Elementary. The referee for tonight's game, like we said, J.R. Strager, his linesmen Dan Fendius and Venance Lorenz. The first face-off in 6 months about to take place at the Macon Centreplex right now, and fittingly it will take place between both teams' captain, Stephen Pirog of Macon, Max Cook of Fayetteville. Pirog's got Darius Davidson on his right. He's got Stathis Soumalides on his left. On his defense, Zach Urban on his right, Jarrett Cupp on his left, Kevin Etma in goal. As for Fayetteville, it's going to be Tucker Ross and Travis Jake at the blue line, Brian Bowen, Max Cook, Luke Stork up front, Danny Taroni. The University of New Hampshire product, played there for 4 seasons. He will be manning the pipes tonight for Jesse Kalecki and the Marksmen. This is the first game of the 2019-20 season. Both teams hoping to kick off the campaign on a high note. It's the 5th anniversary season here in Middle Georgia. The Mayhem hoping to make waves and continue growing the frozen sport in the state of Georgia. Opening faceoff is now underway. It's won by Fayetteville. And we are underway here in Macon for the first time in 6 months. Alex Von Coydel, the voice of your Mayhem. Happy to be with you, folks. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Brian Bowen receives the pass on the right wall, and Stephen Pirog intercepts his attempt in the neutral zone. Darius Davidson's rink-wide pass attempt is interrupted and cleared back into Macon territory. Kevin Etma wisely decides to just hang on to it and will take a whistle. And very shortly, Zach Urban gets into the face of Max Cook. Kevin Etma, very impressive while he was here in Macon last season. In his first 3 games with the Mayhem, he did not allow more than 2 goals once. The first time it happened was when the team went up to Peoria last season, played against the league-leading Rivermen, who had another disappointing first-round playoff exit at the hands of the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs. The Mayhem winning the defensive zone face-off. Rennie Hunter taps it below his net. Larry Smith gets rid of it in time before sustaining a big body check. The puck immediately flies into the Macon bench and out of play, so we get another whistle. 2 whistles in the first 31 seconds here at the Macon Centreplex. The new promotion we're doing this season, folks, the hero of the game, presented by Blues Painting and Home Repair. Submit a local hero or a non-local hero on our website, MaconMayhem.com. They'll get a free Ice Suite experience and 4 tickets to a Mayhem game of their choosing. Larry Smith with the puck inside of the trapezoid behind his net. Sends it out to Josh Keplinger on the left wall. His pass goes off the stick of Danny Caesar, and the ex-Ice Bear charges after it with Nicholas Sage beating him to it, but only just held alive at the point. Rennie Hunter, right side. His wrist shot never got all the way through, but he gets it back, returns it, and fires. It was blocked by a Fayetteville stick. It flew off the protective netting and out of play. Rennie Hunter's got a really big weekend ahead of him. He's the first player in the history of his hometown of Ebb and Flow, Manitoba, an indigenous reserve 2 hours north of Winnipeg. First player to ever come from that community to sign a professional hockey contract and play in a pro hockey game. His parents are here all the way from Ebb and Flow First Nation. Jimmy Soper from above the right circle shovels a backhand shot at the net, and a chest save is made in goal by Danny Taroni. Soper scoring on his backhand in the preseason game against the Birmingham Bulls out in central Alabama. Caleb Cameron being bested on the draw, and the Marksmen have control inside of their own zone. Puck's floated out to the right wing side where Matt O'Day sustains a check, but he got rid of the puck. Timofeyev in front of his bench, advances it in the direction of Soper. He reaches out with his stick against Darian Hamilton. The Marksmen end up with it, and down the left wing side skates Taylor McCloy. He will slide one the width of the ice, and in across the blue line, Malcolm Hayes, the new defenseman for Jesse Kalecki and the Marksmen. Puck is angled off the half boards and out to the neutral zone. It escapes the reach of Nick DiNicola. Devine's pass goes past Stepan Timofeyev's stick, and the FHL's Rookie of the Year last season will now skate to the Macon bench to complete a line change. Less than 2 minutes into this game, 18-10 to go in period 1. No score here at the Macon Centreplex. Jarrett Cupp angles it right to Stathis Soumalides. He will chisel it off the half-wall glass, and it's recovered by Travis Jake, who spins, eludes the majority of that hit. The Mayhem take over the puck and it bounces around near the left corner. It's battled for by Stephen Pirog and Travis Jake. Ends up being taken by Tim Keelick. It slides out to the blue line now. Jarrett Cupp rescues it, and he will pop one into the left corner where it's scrapped for by a pair of players from both teams. Sumalitas twisting and turning will give it down in below the Fayetteville net. Stephen Pirog goes crashing into the left corner glass, and now the Marksmen have finally gotten it out to center. Huge hit delivered by Zach Urban, and that'll wake you up. Nick DiNicola went sliding onto the ice after that collision. Keplinger slides by, shoots, big save. He gets the rebound and carries into the far corner. Centers out front, Caesar's shot, denied by Danny Taroni, and Josh Keplinger has generated the Mayhem's first grade A scoring chance of this game. Not sure we'll call it a grade A, but it was definitely a high-end scoring chance for Josh Keplinger. We talked about what he was able to do last season. In just 3 games against the Marksmen, scored 4 goals and 4 assists. On one of those nights, Pucks and Paws night, March 2nd of last season, he broke a long-standing franchise record by becoming the first player in Mayhem history to score 5 points in a single night. Josh Cousineau against Max Cook in the face-off circle to the left of Danny Taroni. It's won by Max Cook and taken in behind the Fayetteville goal. Given to Donald Oliveri, an SPHL veteran as well, has just cleared it down the length of the ice. Rennie Hunter wins the foot race, and icing is the call. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. It's the first time we've been able to say that sponsor's name this season. The Mayhem will get an offensive zone draw. One of the Marksmen attempted an illegal line change and will have to switch back. Max Cook's been out there a while and is going to have to take another face-off in his defensive zone. He has been pretty good on the draw so far, however. Can he beat Cousineau a second time? The puck drops, and he has succeeded. If I'm not mistaken, he's 3 for 3 on the draw so far, Max Cook. Brian Bowen's got it, and across the blue line. He whips it into the top of the right circle area in the Macon zone. Oliveri with one hand on his stick swipes at it to keep the attack going. Caesar fighting for it, right half wall. Cook delivers behind the net. Intercepted nicely by Rennie Hunter, who tried to wheel it around. Played by Keplinger. Given back to Smith, and now Caesar, who's met at the blue line by Don Oliveri, whose pinch seemed to pay off, at least for the time being. Malcolm Hayes has it in his own zone. He will filter it up to Max Cook and across the blue line. Tries to squeak the pass through traffic. It's whacked back out into the neutral zone and played by Malcolm Hayes. He swoops back into his own zone. Caleb Cameron forechecking. Cameron delivers a hit on Malcolm Hayes. The loose puck is collected by Darius Davidson, who gathers himself in over the Fayetteville blue line. He is shoved down to the ice multiple times. Perhaps one check too many by Malcolm Hayes, but he got away with it, no penalty. Down the right wing side skates Taylor McCloy, the alternate captain, whose sharp angle bid is denied promptly by Kevin Entma. McCloy gets back onto his skates from the corner. He centers it, whiffed on. Here's another chance. An extra pass there. The Marksmen were not able to tap it in. McCloy fires again from the left circle. Entma comes up big with a save, and the whistle blows. 15:42 to go in the first period, no score. Taylor McCloy, the offensive-minded defenseman, with a few opportunities there. McCloy recently named alternate captain by Fayetteville head coach Jesse Kalecki. His captains this season, Max Cook wearing the C, Travis Jake wearing the other A. Pretty crazy story about how that all went down. We'll get to it later on in this broadcast, assuming we have the time, which it's a fun story. We should make time for it at some point, so stay tuned for it. Stephen Pirog at the red line. He will dump it into the Fayetteville zone. Tucker Ross has it. He will now leave it for Travis Jake, who slips his way out in front of his own net and delivers off to his right. Now it's Joe Mitchell skating across the Macon blue line. Delivered into the far corner on the left side. Pinching in to play the puck, Tucker Ross, who got it behind the Macon net, where it's played now by Stathis Sumalitas. There's a loose puck, or excuse me, a loose helmet in behind the Macon net. Zach Urban just kind of whacks it off to the side and sends one ahead for Stephen Pirog. He forces Taylor McCloy to take a digger in the neutral zone. The Marksmen on the breakout here get the puck up the right wing side. It's skated across the blue line by Alec Marsh and dropped into the slot. Tapped off of a Macon glove, and it rolls out towards the Macon blue line. A diving clearing attempt is made by Cousineau, but the Marksmen have it right back. Here's Marsh driving, trying to slip one in front. It's picked off by Rennie Hunter before it got to the net. Good heads-up defensive play by the Manitoba native, and he's going to have to scramble to clear the puck past the blue line, and he succeeds. Kuzno gets it to Danny Caesar, who dumps it into the Fayetteville zone. We've got 14:20 to play. A whistle blows as Danny Tironi covered the puck at the side of his goal. The horn sounds. The first media timeout of this game will take place. Both teams still in the process of feeling one another out right now, and as a result, we've probably seen a few more scoring chances than we might normally through the first few minutes here. But this is folks, this is a loud crowd. The Mayhem fans have waited extremely patiently for this night to come. It's been far too long by their standards, and really by any hockey fan's standards. Nobody wants a 6-month off season in this sport, and that's what the Mayhem had to go through. So tonight, it's like an exaggerated form of a toddler waking up from a nap in this building. Mayhem will go to work on an offensive zone face-off. There's not been a penalty yet called in this game. J.R. Strager so far has been very lenient on the whistle. Caleb Cameron will take an offensive zone draw, countered by Max Cook, who bested him earlier. Puck drops. Looked like Cameron won it, but it went the wrong way. And the Marksmen are going to skate out the other side, and now it's Brian Bowen, right wing. His slap shot is blocked by Larry Smith, who led the team in blocked shots last season. It's given in behind the Macon net. The Marksmen begin to cycle the wagons as it's reversed down into the corner on the near side by Luke Stork. The puck pops out to the far circle, hacked at and whacked at by Marcus Ortiz of Macon. And now Larry Smith will get another opportunity to get the puck out of his own zone. And he's able to with ease this time. Ricochets off the stick of Ortiz, who begins to forecheck. Malcolm Hayes with it behind his net. Slides it up his own slot. Brian Bowen with a miscue on that pass reception. The Mayhem have just cleared it all the way down. This will be an icing called against the Mayhem. 13:32 to go here in period one. 4-2 the shots on goal favoring Macon, but no score. Hope you've enjoyed the broadcast up till this point, folks, on SPHL Live and on YouTube. Cameron will now take a defensive zone face-off, countered by Taylor McCloy. And the puck drops. The Mayhem win the draw cleanly, and out with it skates Marcus Ortiz, who shoots from short of the red line, but he was confident he could get it on net to prevent icing, which he did. And here come the Marksmen. It's dumped into the left corner. Nick DiNicola, who's got some wheels, had his shot miss the left post. And now Jimmy Soper begins to pressure the puck carrier, Travis Jake. The Boston College product gets rid of it, and it's dumped wide of the Macon net. Nick Minerva is first there. Minerva will slide it to his left for Ryan Devine, who outlets it up the left wing side. Darius Davidson trying to find a handle on it. Sumalides will attempt to wedge it back to the right point. Gets it to Minerva, whose shot misses wide of the right post. Now the puck skitters its way past the the Fayetteville blue line, down towards the Macon blue line. Sumalides recovers it and gives it to Ryan Devine, the ex-Pensacola Ice Flyer, wearing the number 40. A left-handed shooting defenseman out of Wayne, Pennsylvania. Has it behind his own net. Devine on the breakout pass, up to Stephen Pirog on the right wing side. Fayetteville back in control. Tim Keelick leaves it off, and Aaron Huffnagel goes tumbling down. He was checked by Jimmy Soper. That big hit was brought to you by Harrison's Body Shop Collision Repair. Tim Keelick, far half wall, pumps the puck into the slot. Entma turns and makes a high shoulder save. Now it's Josh Kuzno who will drop it behind his own net. Minerva taps it along for Jarrett Cupp. To his fellow veteran blue liner, Minerva, right side. Redelivers for Cupp in his own slot. His outlet pass is picked off. Here come the Marksmen on the counterattack. Good defensive play by Cupp. Oliveri puts it in front. Slap shot from the left circle. Gets blocked. And the Mayhem recover. It's going to be skated out of harm's way by Josh Keplinger, who will dump it down the left boards and into the Fayetteville zone. Max Cook's got it. He'll begin to accelerate his way through center ice. His pass is intercepted, as is Cupp's, and his second effort gets it out past his own blue line. It's rattled back in now by Malcolm Hayes. Halted behind his net by Kevin Entma. 11:25 to go here in period one, still no score. Cupp is down, had his stick stuck in the boards, and now it goes back behind the Macon net. Stepan Timofeyev is there, and he will clear it as it bounces out near the Fayetteville blue line. Recovered by Max Cook. We'll spin it out to the Macon blue line. Brian Bowen was there waiting for it, and the Marksmen are offside. Jimmy Soper looks like might have accidentally clipped Luke Stork there after the face-off whistle. There was no malicious intent there. Stork knows it. He's just going to skate back to the bench. We've seen a few times, folks, the Marksmen retreating back into their own zone and whipping the puck out to the blue line, the Macon blue line, trying to catch the Mayhem in the midst of line changes. They've attempted that 4 or 5 times already in this game. The Mayhem have got to be careful, especially in the second period, about when they time their line changes. Kevin Entma will leave it for Rene Hunter. His pass is on the tape for Caleb Cameron. The RIT grad dancing through center ice, slips away from a couple of checks. He drives right side, cuts into the slot and fires, and it's stopped by Timoni. Given back to the right point. Long wrist shot, never got through, but it lands flat in the slot. Stepan Timofeyev sets up Cameron, backdoor pass. What a save made by Timoni on the doorstep by Jimmy Soper. Everyone in this building thought that was in, but Timoni able to slam the door shut and rob Jimmy Soper of the Mayhem's first goal of the season. Jimmy Soper scoring the Mayhem's lone preseason goal. Thought he had that one for sure. So did virtually everyone in the arena. But Danny Timoni stood tall. Excellent left pad save. And now it's Nicholas Sage behind the Fayetteville goal line. He can't clear it. Slap shot from the slot. It was never seen by Timoni. Fortunately for him, it missed the net. That was Stephen Pirog trying to catch him napping. Darius Davidson goes in and applies pressure. The Marksmen have just cleared it out to the neutral zone. Ryan Devine steps up on Luke Stork. Puck flies high in the air and will land near the Fayetteville blue line. The league's reigning defenseman of the year, Travis Jake, is able to slip by Darius Davidson with ease and pump it up the right side for Tucker Ross. From the right circle, had his shot just missed the left post. Jake from the left point fires his shot wide of the net. It caroms off the backboards. The Mayhem trying to catch the Marksmen here on a counterattack. 3-on-2. Keplinger's shot is waffle-boarded by Danny Timoni with a blocker save. And now it's Josh Kuzno twisting with it. He feeds it to Keplinger, slides it into the slot slowly. Devine's shot is off target. Keplinger recovers it from the corner. He will send it up to the slot again. Wrist shot is on, but stopped by Timoni. The rebound was there, but cleared. And Zach Urban will recover in his own zone. He will feed it to Jarrett Cup. We're halfway through period 1. 9:15 to go. No score here at the Macon Centreplex. Now here comes Joe Mitchell. He gets it right back. He was a bit handcuffed on that return pass from Tim Keelik. Mitchell in the corner on the far side. Loses the puck to the pressure from Zach Urban. The 2-on-2 scrum going on down there. Pair of Canadians fighting for it for the Mayhem, and Zach Urban and Caleb Cameron. Now Danny Caesar's pinned up to the half wall on the far side. Cameron's pickpocketed by Keelik. Right circle, his shot denied. Second shot also stopped. Kevin Entma's on his game so far tonight. It's sent back up to the blue line. Don Oliveri, long screen shot, stopped by Entma. The rebound trickled through the crease, collected by Keelik, who wheels up to the high slot with it. He pulls the trigger, misses the left post. And Jarrett Cup searches for it. It's on top of the net, and the referee, J.R. Strager, has blown his whistle. And thus we go to our second media timeout of period 1. The 10s coming together in front of the Macon net. Nick DiNicola of Fayetteville, Caleb Cameron of Macon. Some pushes and shoves, but nothing to write home about just yet. Look for that to change eventually at some point this game. It's just the nature of this rivalry, which has grown over the past couple of years. Last season, obviously, it took more steps forward as the rivalry was not nearly as one-sided as it was the season prior. During the 2017-18 season, of course, the Mayhem dominated the head-to-head series against Fayetteville. Last year, that was not so much the case, though it was in the games played at this building. .8:32 remaining in the first period, no score. There's going to be a face-off to the right of Kevin Entma, who's been perfect so far, as has his counterpart, Danny Timoni. It's been a good night for the goaltenders in the early going. Caleb Cameron will take the draw. He wins it cleanly and Rennie Hunter is able to clear it. The Mayhem could get a 2-on-1. Marcus Ortiz right side with Soper driving the net. Ortiz shoots it off the crossbar. And stepping in to keep the attack going, Caleb Cameron. Soper centers out front. Ortiz had it bounce on him. Oliveri sent him down to the ice. And it's left off in the circle there. And picked up by Jimmy Soper. He will center. Ortiz the shot. Blocked by Soper in front of the net. Gets it back. Sends it over. What a save by Timoni. And a scramble takes place in front of the net. The puck is still loose. And play continues. A diving effort made by Ortiz was futile as the Marksmen are back in control. Soper fighting for it. Left circle, centered back to the top of the right circle for a wrist shot, and it's denied by the stick of Kevin Etma. That shot coming from Malcolm Hayes. The Mayhem have just cleared the puck all the way down, and icing call is forthcoming. 7:41 to go in period one. No score here at the Macon Centreplex. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. My goodness, has Danny Timoni been on his game tonight? The puck drops. The Marksmen win the draw, and a quick face-off shot by Bowen rattles wide of the right post. Entma never had to touch it. Rennie Hunter can't clear it past the vigilant stick of Darian Hamilton. Hunter keeping the pressure on. Max Cook sent it into the Macon slot. It was outside of the reach of the intended target. Malcolm Hayes will skate it back in. Right circle. Couldn't filter his pass into the slot. Larry Smith broke that one up. The Mayhem's most sound defensive defenseman last season has just cleared it all the way down. And now with it on his stick behind his own net, Luke Stork turns it over. Opportunity on the far side. Dropped off from Minerva, whose one-timer is stopped by Timoni. Boy, Minerva had that twig queued up, almost Ovechkin-like, the way he was waiting for the puck to come his way and unleash the power of his one-timer. Oh, and then a cross-check right to the face of Malcolm Hayes. That got the attention of the folks in section 21. It's going to be a penalty handed out this time. Ryan Devine making his Mayhem debut tonight wearing the number 40. He's going to have a seat for the first time tonight. We're going to have a power play, and it will go to Fayetteville. We'll be cross-checking if I'm not mistaken. Devine got his stick up high on Malcolm Hayes. Last season we saw Macon's penalty kill struggle at the beginning of the campaign and steadily improve. Fayetteville's power play, of course, can be pretty lethal, especially when you consider who they have running it. Though he's not on the ice right now, Travis Jake is on the bench. The Marksmen winning the offensive zone draw, going to their first man advantage of the evening, and the puck's been cleared all the way down by Danny Caesar. This Mayhem penalty kill is brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air Conditioning. Here's Don Oliveri in its 5th SPHL season. Fakes, delivers it over the blue line. McCloy skates wide, slips it in front. It's picked off and cleared by Josh Cousineau. Cousineau, the former Pensacola Ice Flyers captain. And now it's skated down the right wing side by Matt O'Day. Left off to his right by Nick DiNicola, who will center it into the slot. Oliveri gives it to Cook, his shot into the glove of Kevin Etma. That was Alec Marsh, I beg your pardon, releasing it from the left circle. 6:13 to go in the first period. No score here in Macon. 1:15 remains on this J&J's Heating and Air penalty kill. And now we see Travis Jake skating to the blue line, where he will assume his power play quarterbacking responsibilities. The Marksmen again winning the draw. Left half wall, it's Brian Bowen. Led the team in scoring last season with 44 points collectively. Travis Jake to Bowen. Coming off the boards with it, delivers down. A stuff attempt, side of the net by Cook is denied by Etma, who stretched out with the left pad to make that save. Max Cook last season tallied 5 assists in 6 games against the Mayhem. Always somebody you got to watch out for. He also got into a number of altercations while here. We're halfway through this Fayetteville power play. Stephen Pirog will take the defensive zone face-off against Luke Stork. Vanance Lorenz, the linesman, drops the puck. The puck's been cleared around the wall. Stathis Sumalidas has it in the neutral zone and will just slowly maneuver his way across the blue line. He is hit by Travis Jake as he dumped it in. Jake's now got it inside of his own trapezoid. 38 points last season, led all defensemen in the SPHL. He'll feed it up to Cook. Max Cook to Brian Bowen, the ex-Ice Flyer on his left. Left circle, Bowen centers, tapped wide of the net by Max Cook. And now it's given back to Jake at the blue line. Long wrist shot redirected wide by Cook into the Bowen corner. Bowen's got it, left circle, skates in and fires. Enma the save. The rebound is whacked away by Larry Smith. Good alert play by the Mayhem defenseman, Niagara product. Marksman fans wanting a penalty here. There's quite a few of them actually in the arena tonight. That flying puck is brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. Some of the Marksman fans in the building wanting a tripping penalty on that last play, but none was called. 8 remain on this Fayetteville man advantage. 5:06 to go in the period. Still no score. Kevin Entma, Danny Timoni have both been on their game. Zach Urban getting it all the way down. Tironi has to allow the puck to come into the trapezoid. He was not allowed to play it before that. The Mayhem have returned to full strength. Devine out of the box, skates right to the Macon bench. And the Mayhem have improved to 1-for-1 on the PK tonight. That puck has just gone into the Macon bench, thereby commencing our third and final media timeout of period 1. No score here at the Macon Centreplex. 4:48 again remaining in the first period. The Mayhem with a slight edge in shots on goal, though it's been pretty even so far. Power plays 0-for-1 to Fayetteville, 0-for-0 still for Macon. The tone that was sort of set by J.R. Strager at the beginning of this game was, I'll let you play hockey, just don't abuse it. And on that last situation, Ryan Devine took it a step too far with the cross-check to the face of Malcolm Hayes, but the Mayhem were able to kill it off pretty well. Interestingly enough, we didn't see Caleb Cameron out there on the penalty kill. He might have been there, but I did not see him. He was somebody who last season played a huge role on the Mayhem disadvantage, the man disadvantage. Of course, the amount of capable replacements for him on this Mayhem squad is numerous. Here's an outlet pass by Timofeyev that never reached Danny Caesar. It was picked off. Jarrett Cupp will give it now to Timofeyev near the half wall, or the sidewall rather. Timofeyev has just dumped it into the Fayetteville zone. Brian Bowen lurking behind the defense, gets a step, is brought down. No penalty called. A couple players go tumbling into the end wall. One of them is Rene Hunter, who's a bit slow to get up, but he's back onto his skates. That's a good sign. He went a little bit awkwardly into the end boards. Now here come the Mayhem. Kuzno, right side. Negotiates his way across the blue line. Leaves it for Timofeyev, who slides it across the ice. Bounces off the half wall. Larry Smith trying to dump it into the left corner. The Marksmen have just cleared it all the way down. This is going to be an icing called against Fayetteville. That icing has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. The Mayhem will get an offensive zone face-off. And Coach Thomas has sent out Stephen Pirog, Stathis Sumalidas, and Darius Davidson for this offensive draw. Pirog directing traffic, telling his teammates where to go here. Larry Smith lining up at the left point, and Rennie Hunter is in the deep slot. The puck drops. Pirog with a clean win on the draw, but it's slid too far up the slot, and the Marksmen have taken control and have dumped it into the right corner in the Macon zone. Larry Smith sliding it up to Sumalidas on the half wall, to Rennie Hunter, whose pass goes off the stick of the forechecking Marksman. In that situation, it was Nick DiNicola, and now it's been backhanded to the right side for a shot by Tucker Ross, which misfired. Left point Jake, long shot, redirects off the side of the goal. Entma had the post covered, and now it's fought for by DiNicola and Rennie Hunter in the far corner. Tim Keelik puts it behind the net. The other number 11, Stephen Pirog, is out with it. Oliveri, or rather Tucker Ross, pressured Sumalidas, who was able to get it out of his own zone. Entma's going to have to make a play now as it comes his way. Entma rolls it around the boards. And Larry Smith with an attempted clear, sealed off by Keelik. It eventually squeaks past him. The Mayhem reset. Hunter faked left, went right, got the forechecker to bite, but his pass goes off a Marksman's stick. Now here comes Oliveri leading the counterattack. His pass is well behind the intended recipient. The Mayhem have cleared it out as far as the red line. Soper begins the forecheck, and it's O'Day with it. O'Day rattles it into Macon territory. Entma stops it there. And now it's Rennie Hunter giving it to his left for Larry Smith. Smith turns back with it. Hunter rattles it around the boards, and it goes out into the neutral zone where it's played by Don Oliveri. He floats it just wide of the net. Entma wisely did not touch it. Icing is the call against Oliveri and the Marksmen. I think Oliveri is trying to argue that Entma did in fact touch it. Just a sliver, but he's not going to win that argument. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Good heads-up play by the Adrian College product, Kevin Entma. Oliveri in his 5th SPHL season now. Was with the Mississippi River Kings for 3 years. A lot of experience playing in this league. Josh Keplinger is going to take a rare face-off as his centerman Josh Cousineau had been booted from the draw. The linesman Dan Fendius drops the puck. Caesar collects it and will feed it back to Ryan Devine, who floats a shot over the net. And Josh Keplinger will reverse it towards Cousineau. It's been whacked around to the near corner now, and the Marksmen have gotten it out. It's intercepted by Caesar and driven back in. Nicholas Sage gets it away from Keplinger for the time being. The puck slides out to the blue line where it's picked up by Fayetteville's Alec Marsh with a full head of steam. Lets his wrist shot go, and it missed wide of the right elbow of the net. Cousineau had his stick lifted, got back on it, and fed it in the direction of Keplinger. Travis Jake takes over. That pass went between the skates of Caleb Cameron. Didn't see it coming. Keplinger down the left side. Cameron in the slot. Keplinger delays. He tries to throw one back door. It's intercepted. And the puck now sliding its way back out to the red line. Less than 100 seconds remain. Slap shot by Devine is off the mark. Ricochets out towards Soper on the far half wall. Tries to chisel it deep. Took an unfortunate bounce, but the Mayhem could capitalize off of it. However, the Marksmen have weathered the storm for the time being as Max Cook sends one ahead. Good stick handling done by Luke Stork. Cook from the corner on the near side. Brian Bowen tried a hot pass into the middle. Luke Stork had his stick down, but it didn't go anywhere. And now here comes Stepan Timofeyev driving on the right side. Left out for Soper, right circle. His shot is blocked. Loose puck bounces into the left circle, and it will slide out to neutral territory. Zach Urban will rattle it back in. Stepan Timofeyev was wrapped up by Brian Bowen, the other number 12, for a good long while. Well after the play had come to an end. And now Rennie Hunter backpedaling to retrieve the puck in his own zone. Larry Smith receives the pass from his defensive partner, pumps it out to the neutral zone. Pirog left side, Sumalitis the other way. Pirog the shot. It gets blocked and it flies wide of the net. And the puck slides out to the half wall on the far side. Keelik is tripped and a penalty is called against Macon. 28 seconds remain in the period. The Mayhem back to the penalty kill for the second time tonight. Just an unfortunate situation there. That looked like the stick was down and Keelik sort of stepped on it. Certainly not intentional, but a trip is a trip. And Darius Davidson, or perhaps Sumalitis, neither of them know who's supposed to go. It's going to be Davidson. Sumalitis is arguing the call. Darius Davidson out of American International College. Young player. He's 24 years of age. Well, soon to be. He'll turn 24 in January, I beg your pardon. Out of Surrey, British Columbia. He's somebody who's impressed Coach Thomas and Michael in a very short amount of time. So the Mayhem will end this period on the penalty kill unless Fayetteville can score in the next 25 seconds. The Mayhem doing a good job right off the defensive zone draw of clearing the puck all the way down. So the Marksmen have got to hurry. They've only got a quarter of a minute remaining in this period. McCloy going wide down the right side, watched by Ryan Devine, who closes him off into the half wall. From the left point now, it's played by Fayetteville's Don Oliveri. Fired at the net, ricochets on goal. Entma the save, and that's done it for period one. No score through the first 20 minutes of play. The Mayhem certainly in a better situation than they were after period one of the preseason. Right now the shots on goal show 11-10 in Macon's favor. Usually it takes a minute or two to update here at the Macon Centreplex, so stay tuned in terms of what ends up being the final count after period one. I'm hearing from the PA announcer that it's 12-12, so that sounds about right. Pretty evenly played period of play by both sides, and I think the Mayhem certainly setting the tone. They probably, I would say, had a slight edge in terms of quality of scoring chance. But I got to tell you, folks, Fayetteville's goaltender, Danny Tironi, he looks big time. A lot of saves that really one wouldn't think he had any business making were made. His two biggest saves of the period were with his left pad. So one was on Soper, without a doubt. If I'm not mistaken, the other was on Keplinger, who had a couple of opportunities denied by Danny Tironi. Kevin Entma looks rock solid for Macon. He turned aside all 12 shots that he faced. As promised, folks, we're going to have a first intermission interview brought your way by the fourth captain in franchise history for the Macon Mayhem. Named such this morning by Mayhem head coach Leo Thomas, Stephen Pirog, the ex-Greenville Swamp Rabbit who came back to Macon to finish his career. We'll hear all about his story and so much more in just a moment. After Pirog's interview, folks, we're going to play back the Leo Thomas interview in case you missed it before this game started. So all of that is coming your way here on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. No score through the first period of play. The Mayhem on the J&J's heating and air conditioning penalty kill. 1-for-1 tonight and have fought off the first 28 seconds of their second penalty kill, but they will be shorthanded when second period play resumes. Till then, please enjoy these interviews from Stephen Pirog and Coach Thomas. Okay, folks, welcome back again. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network, SPHL Live, and on YouTube. Hope you've enjoyed your night and the broadcast thus far. I've had the privilege of being joined by returning center, well, returning in a way, Stephen Pirog. Stephen, first off, really appreciate your time, and thanks for being here tonight.
It's great. I'm glad to be here.
How does it feel just being back in Macon again?
It feels like home. 3 years ago I was here. I developed my pro career here. Everybody here seems like family. Everybody's so nice. The organization is great. There was no other place I would rather go but here.
Definitely. And speaking of that, Stephen, most people did not really expect you to be back this season. You spent the entirety of last season playing for Kevin Kerr in the ECHL. Your return was a tremendous surprise to our fan base over the summer. What more than anything would you say is what drove your decision to come back here?
I just wanted to play somewhere where I felt like it was home, just like I said before. I loved it here. We won a championship here. The reason why I play is I love winning in anything, and I feel like when I had an opportunity here again, I felt like we had a great team coming here, and I just want to bring another championship home.
Now, I understand you kept yourself pretty busy over the off season, some non-hockey related work. You were telling me you're really passionate when it comes to building and renovation and whatnot. For some of the folks who might not know, if you wouldn't mind just kind of getting into a little more detail about what you did over the summer.
Yeah, I worked for a custom home building company. Back home, we work on big homes that we develop. So whenever the trades kind of mess up, I come in and fix things. So I pretty much just go in. I do from everything. I learned every type of trade there is through the last 4 years. It's just been a summer job for me. It's my best friend's dad's company. I kind of grew up with it. So 5 years later down the road, I know a few things. So it just developed to be a habit for me now, and I really enjoy it.
See, that's awesome to me. I think it's so cool, just kind of a subtlety of minor league hockey that a lot of people don't really understand or appreciate, is that a lot of these players, they're not just hockey players. They do other stuff like construction, like yourself, and then a lot of guys who do kind of conservation type work, a lot of guys who work at golf courses, you name it. So I think it's something that's kind of unique to the landscape here that you might not see, in the NHL, obviously, which kind of, I think it gives you guys some unique personality traits and whatnot. So It's interesting. But, Stephen, I wanted to congratulate you as well because this morning you were officially named as the 4th captain in franchise history, joining the ranks of some pretty exclusive company there. What does it mean to you to be able to wear the C for this organization, and have you ever done that before in your career?
It's an honor. When Leo told me, I was pretty excited. Anybody to wear that, just to give that symbol out there. But in the end, we all are a family. We all work together. Everybody kind of has the same word here. So having that C on the chest feels nice. But in the end, we're all a family. Everybody has the same word in the dressing room. It means a lot to me. But back in the past, I was a captain once in minor hockey, but that was the last time. I was an assistant captain with the Peterborough Petes too, but here it's different because I've played here for a longer time. Coming back to a home where I feel like is home and welcoming me with that, it felt really good.
Definitely, and lots of new additions to the roster this year, who I think are going to be looking up to the likes of yourself and the 3 alternate captains who were named today as well. Stathis Similidis, who you won a championship with a few years ago, and then Caleb Cameron, of course, and Jimmy Soper. I'll ask one more question of you, Stephen, then I'll let you get going. I know you're busy here. You played in this league back when the Marksmen were known as the Fayetteville Fire Ants. You've got plenty of experience playing against them as an organization, but not really any time recently. What's kind of your scouting report on what this team can bring to the table as a challenge tonight?
Well, coming in here, Leo is very good with that, very keeping up to date for how they are with teams. So he kind of filled me in about what I've missed in the last 2 years too. But just coming in, playing our game, we've been having great practices. We're a very fast team. We're going to be very physical. And if we bring our hard-working game here, I think it's going to turn out very well for us.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time again, Stephen. Good luck out there tonight. And this is the home opening night for the 5th annual season here in Macon. It's a big night for all of us, not the least of whom is yourself. So go get him tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's Stephen Pirog, the captain of your Macon Mayhem. This has been your first intermission report. We'll be back in just a moment with your out-of-town scoreboard update and more right after this. All right, welcome back to our pregame show, folks. We're so happy to have you with us here for our home opener in our 5th anniversary season. As always, I'm joined by the head coach of the Macon Mayhem, Leo Thomas. Coach, this is the 5th anniversary season in Macon, like we said. Begins tonight. You've been here for 4 of those 5 seasons. What does this year in particular mean for the organization?
It's huge. It's obviously huge. Hockey's come a long way here in Macon over the last 5 years, and I'm just happy to be a part of it here in my 4th year and this 5th year in existence. So, the ultimate goal is to try to bring that championship back here to Macon. So.
Definitely, and you've had a pretty good chance to look at this team so far, about a week or so since most of the players started arriving, a little bit longer. What kind of stands out to you as one of the most glaring differences between this year's squad and last year's?
It'd have to be just the overall leadership, guys that have played in this league a long time or for a few years or more. And, I look around the names of our forwards and the few D that we have back there, and there's a lot of experience and leadership. Guys that have gone through those tough battles and won championships and stuff like that. So that's the most glaring thing I see now. And, the way the guys compete in practice and stuff like that's been really, really impressive and a positive thing leading into this weekend. So.
Now, speaking of leadership, you named your captains officially this morning. Tell us about the decisions that you made.
Yeah, no, it's, I think Pirog's the guy who's been here before. He's shows what it takes to be a leader, and he works hard in practice, and guys follow suit. And guys like Sumi, who's back for his third year or so, and already had the A last year. And I think with Cam and Soper, those are kind of 2 younger guys who've proven themselves over the last few years and have that presence in the locker room and also on the ice in practice and stuff like that. So that's kind of the way I went. But again, I have, another 3 or 4 guys who have been a captain in this league before or have wore a letter. So the leadership shouldn't be a problem in our room at all. So.
Without a doubt, and that bodes well for the new additions to the team. Speaking of, there's quite a few of them. Several players who are going to be making their professional debuts tonight for the Mayhem. Darius Davidson, Stepan Timofeyev, and Renee Hunter. They're all in the lineup tonight for what will be their first professional game. Just kind of go over some of the qualities you expect them to be able to bring to the table this season.
Yeah, for them, it's just getting their feet going, and first couple shifts just play real simple. But all three guys are capable of playing at this level. They've showed it in practice, and they're smart players. Each one brings kind of a different element, and that's why they're here. And they all looked good in preseason game as well. So just for them to get that first period under their belt, and I'm sure they'll calm down, get comfortable as the game goes on, and we'll see what they can do.
They did certainly look good in the preseason game. Excited to see numbers 27, 12, and 4 suiting up for the Mayhem tonight for the first time in this uniform. The three of them. Rennie Hunter, by the way, his parents in all the way from Evanflow, Manitoba. A long haul to come watch their son make his professional debut tonight. An exciting weekend for Rennie Hunter. Last question I have for you, Coach. Fayetteville has historically struggled in this building, especially over the past few years here. But we saw exactly how competitive those games were last season against them in this building. There weren't any blowouts like there were a couple years ago. A much upgraded squad from the year prior. How is that team looking heading into tonight?
Yeah, I think we talked about this before. Every team's gotten better over the summer, and Kalecki and Melkert have done a good job recruiting and putting together a pretty good team. Obviously, we haven't seen them yet. This is strictly off roster and names, but we can't take any team lightly in this league, especially in our home opener. And they're going to come in hungry. They're obviously going to want to spoil our opener, so we just got to be ready for everything, and play a hard-fought game, and come out with the W.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck out there tonight.
Thank you, man.
That's Leo Thomas, the head coach of your Macon Mayhem. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Well, we hope you enjoyed those interviews. The second one we played back, just in case you missed it during the during the pregame show, rather. And then the first interview we played was with the Mayhem captain, Stephen Pirog, who was just named that this morning, along with Caleb Cameron, Stathis Sumulidis, and Jimmy Soper as the alternates. So a big day here for the Mayhem, not just because of the opening night, but because captains were named. Stephen Pirog donning the C here in Macon for the first time in his career. He did wear an A at times during the championship season. I beg your pardon, it was the season after in which he wore the A at times. But Stephen Pirog, folks, a huge honor for him. As he said in the interview, the fourth captain in team history, and will have a lot of pressure on his shoulders, considering that he really just came back and was not here last season. He was playing for a former Mayhem head coach, however, Kevin Kerr, for the Greenville Swamp Rapids in the ECHL. Spent time up there with Dylan Van Der Esch, Jake Fiella, and other former Mayhem players, most of whom were standouts at some point in their career here in Macon. But he's going to be somebody that Coach Thomas has made explicitly clear is going to have an enormous role for the team this season, on and off the ice. And we've already seen him on the penalty kill, and he was a big part of the reason the Mayhem were able to kill it off promptly in that first period. Defensive zone faceoffs were critical, and when you're shorthanded, they're even more important. And Stephen Pirog did a good job. If he didn't win the draw, then he at least made it difficult for the opposing center to immediately claim possession. So, been impressed with him so far in the face-off circle, and certainly got some good skill on the rush. There were a couple of odd man rushes that the Mayhem just were not able to take advantage of. And Josh Keplinger had a 3-on-2 at one point, had his shot squeak through Danny Taroni's equipment and just kind of wobble wide of the left post. And that was a tough one for Keplinger to swallow, because he's somebody who really, against this team, he thrives against Fayetteville. He certainly did last season. He wants to keep that going. He looked good in the preseason. He's entering his first full professional campaign, and he wants to prove that that 3-game stretch last year was not a fluke. So he's got a chip on his shoulder. Last year he had to go back home to finish his, well, not home, he went back to Wisconsin, to Lawrence University to finish his degree, which he got over the summer. He's got a Bachelor of Science in Biology, Josh Keplinger. And before that, he was able to get a taste of the pro scene. Played about a dozen games here in Macon before he had no choice but to go back home. So he wasn't here for the playoff run. But he certainly made his name known here in Macon among fans. After that weekend in which he broke a record and earned a SPHL Star of the Week and whatnot, he was featured on the Mayhem Coaches Show Line Change every Tuesday night. By the way, this year it's going to be a half hour earlier. Same place, but it's going to be at 6 p.m. instead of 6:30 p.m. at the Rookery every Tuesday night. So Keplinger got to know, there were a lot of fans there that night. It was probably the most crowded that we've seen that place for a line change, and Larry Smith was with him as well. He had just gotten into a fight with Paul Frazier, a former Fayetteville defenseman, that weekend. So the two of them obviously had their hands full with questions and comments from fans. But in the short time Keplinger was here last season, he became Macon famous pretty quick, and fans are really excited. He decided to come back. He had a tryout with the Florida Everblades in the ECHL. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to crack that roster. Probably fortunately for the fans here, who were really hoping to see number 28 back in Macon this season. Tonight, Keplinger's been lined up alongside Caleb Cameron and Danny Caesar. So he's flanked by a pair of teammates with a good amount of experience in this league. And that's something that Coach Thomas has done, perhaps intentionally. When you look at the lines, folks, there's one rookie for every 2 veterans on each line. And believe me, that is not a coincidence. For the home opener, Coach Thomas did not want to put anybody into a situation in which they felt uncomfortable, and therefore for every pro rookie in the lineup, they're joined by 2 veterans who have been in this league or other pro leagues for several years. You look at the Pirog line, Darius Davidson on the right side. He's a rookie, not even 24 years old yet. But he's got Stephen Pirog and Stathis Sumalitis on his left, 2 guys who won a President's Cup championship here 2 years ago. And then the next line, you look at Stepan Timofeyev, the FHL's Rookie of the Year last season, so I suppose he's not technically a pro rookie, but he's a rookie in the SPHL. He's got Josh Kuzno centering him, who's in his 5th season. Well, 6th, I beg your pardon, most of which was spent with the Pensacola Ice Flyers. He was also a member of the Knoxville Ice Bears when they won the President's Cup, won championships in back-to-back seasons with 2 different teams. Not a whole lot of players in the history of this league can say that. And then Jimmy Soper on his left, who's an alternate captain for the Mayhem this season. So Timofeyev flanked by a pair of leaders as well. And then Josh Keplinger, we just mentioned him. Caleb Cameron centering his line with Danny Caesar, who's in his 5th SPHL season. So every rookie has got 2 hardened veterans on his line. So Coach Thomas really doing a good job of making sure that they're assimilated to the pro level and the pace of play in the best way possible. A couple of defensemen making their Mayhem debuts tonight as well, and Rennie Hunter and Ryan Devine. Thought that Rennie Hunter had a very strong first period of play. Smart with the puck on his stick, and he makes good decisions in tight quarters. And then Ryan Devine, another veteran blue liner who, though he's never played for the Mayhem before, he's got a good deal of experience in this league. Played in Pensacola last season, was teammates with Josh Cousineau down there in Florida. He was guilty of the high sticking penalty, which put the Mayhem on their first penalty kill of the season, which they fought off. They're now clicking at 100% on the PK this season, but they're going to be on the PK to start period 2. 1:32 remains on this J&J's Heating and Air Conditioning penalty kill. Darius Davidson in the box for that late trip to close out the opening stanza. Shots and goals both even through the first 20 minutes of play. 12 shots apiece, no score through the first 20. Fayetteville will get a power play, its second power play to kick off period 2. To start out this shorthanded unit will be Stephen Pirog and Stathis Soumalides. Ryan Devine, Nick Minerva on defense. Fayetteville countering with Brian Bowen, the team's leading scorer from last season, and Travis Jake, the SPHL's Defenseman of the Year, as the power play quarterback. Tim Keelick on the left wing. Max Cook will take the face-off. And Luke Stork, the marksman rookie, lines up opposite Soumalides on the right side. So just like the way that this game started, the face-off will take place between two captains. Pirog for Macon, Cook for Fayetteville. It looks like we're just about ready to go for period 2. Kevin Entma, 12 of 12 in net for the Mayhem. Danny Tironi, who probably had to make one or two more high-end saves than Entma did, also 12 of 12 for Fayetteville. A couple of the saves he made were, simply put, they should not have happened. The UNH product certainly shining in his marksman debut. So the puck drops. Pirog getting the job done. Minerva will chip it back to his defensive partner, Ryan Devine. And Tim Keelick passes it to himself off the boards and drops it off. Pirog was the only man there. He's able to clear it. 1:15 to go on this Fayetteville power play. It's swiped at by Bowen, taken away by Pirog, who drives behind the net and centers out front. Soumalides hacks it wide of the goal. And Pirog goes in after it, trying to recover it. Best chance of the period so far comes shorthanded from Macon. A good job of fetching the puck in below the opposing net by Pirog to set up Soumalides for a good point-blank chance. Jake distributes it to Max Cook, and the Fayetteville captain gains the zone. Bowen left circle, holds on, gives it back to Jake near the blue line. Travis Jake loves to do the head fakes. We'll swing it back to Bowen, who will skate wide on Caleb Cameron, enduring stick checks all the while. Puck flies out of play. That one went off one of the handlebars. That flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. The Mayhem looking sharp on the PK so far tonight. They've still got 36 seconds to kill off. The best chance so far of this Fayetteville power play has come from the Mayhem while shorthanded. Unfortunately for them, Soumalides just missed the net. So Cameron to take the defensive face-off against McCloy. He wins it, and it's been cleared. Soper charges after it in the F1 position, the furthest up for the Mayhem on the forecheck. Lesage drops it off, and now it's been skidded across the blue line by Alec Marsh and given in behind the net. McCloy into the corner now for Matt O'Day. He and McCloy switch. Fayetteville alternate captain drives towards the front of the net from a tough angle. Couldn't get his shot through Entma, who had the post covered and was in perfect position to make that save. 5 seconds. 18.5 to play in the second period. No score yet in this game. The Mayhem will take advantage of this whistle to get one last line change done. The marksmen will keep the same forwards but get a fresh pair of defensemen out there. Darius Davidson now standing in the Mayhem penalty box. The puck drops. It's been whacked at from the circle. And it careens on over near the far corner boards. Davidson rejoins his team. The Mayhem back to full strength. Oliveri receives the puck in the left corner. Attempts a shot from an impossible angle that sails over the net. Bounces off the half wall. Side of the net pass for Oliveri, who's deep in the Macon zone. He recovers it. He's got it from a sharp angle. Attempts a shot that skitters off the post, but it stays out. And now in the far corner, it's Taylor McCloy, who waits and turns and to fend off the presence of Renee Hunter. And finally, the Mayhem have gotten it out past the blue line. Darius Davidson's backhand pass is taken. Here comes Cousineau, 3-on-1. Right up the gut, leaves it off. Davidson's shot fought off by Danny Taroni, who catches it in the glove. A good drop pass by Cousineau. Darius Davidson releasing the wrist shot, and it looked like it might have gone off the shoulder or perhaps the glove of Taroni, and then it just landed back into his mitt. 2 minutes and 9 seconds have gone by to start period 2. No score. The Mayhem have had the better chances so far, though Oliveri did just ring one off the post moments ago. For Fayetteville, Tucker Ross behind his own net. Now it's out to Nick DiNicola, the ex-Knoxville Ice Bear. Ross recovers. Twisted up to Tim Keelik, who's got a skate behind his own goal with it. Hot pass turned over. Sumalitas centers through Pirog all the way back. Divine slap shot, pad save. Rebound kicked out in between the circles, and it's given in behind the net. Stepan Timofeyev trying to squeak free. He fights for it along the far half wall against Aaron Huffnagel. The puck pops out to the left point. It's been floated into the corner on the opposite side. The near side, Sumalitas pinned up. He begins to scrap away for it and will work it up to the point. Minerva's shot redirected by Pirog and stopped by the pads of Danny Taroni. It's been whacked up to the blue line again. Minerva's shot is intercepted. It's been tipped into the zone by Aaron Huffnagel. And this has been that icing call was pretty quiet. Didn't hear the whistle, but icing is the call. Huffnagel was short of the red line when he tipped it. So the Mayhem will try to take advantage of a fatigued Fayetteville squad here. Not been able to make a line change in some time. Cameron to take the offensive zone face-off against Tim Keelik to the left of Danny Taroni. To work back to the right point for Zach Urban. Long shot redirected just wide by Caleb Cameron. Close call that just missed the outside of the left post. And now here comes Fayetteville. Nick DiNicola with ample time for his team to get a line change here. DiNicola from the left half wall will deliver it inside of the Macon trapezoid. And out with it skates Jarrett Cupp, the Curry College product. From the red line, will rattle it into the zone. Takes a strange bounce, goes over the paddle of Danny Taroni. And it's Caleb Cameron maneuvering with it. Sends it at the net. Blocked by Soper's stick. He tried to redirect it. It never ended up reaching Taroni. And now the puck flies into the right corner. It's going to be scooped up by Rennie Hunter. He slips around a check from Brian Bowen. Rennie Hunter will slide one out towards Urban. Zach Urban, the Northern Michigan product. That is clearing attempt, go off of Malcolm Hayes' glove, and then ultimately into the Macon bench. We get a whistle stopping play. And some pushes and shoves transpiring after the fact. Expected to get more and more like that as the game goes on. The longer these players get to know each other, the less they tend to like each other. It's usually how it goes. 2 penalties so far, both against Macon, both killed off. The Mayhem 2 for 2 on the PK. We've not yet gotten a look of the Mayhem power play. This period is 3 minutes and 53 seconds old. Still scoreless. The Mayhem having the edge in scoring opportunities so far in period 2. There will be a neutral zone draw right in front of the Macon bench. Josh Cousineau will take it for the Mayhem, but he's bested by Max Cook, who's been good on the face-off circle so far tonight. Cook receives the pass at center ice. Dips the shoulder and drives. Left circle, tons of space. For the trailer, it was Bowen, and the pass was outside of his reach. The Marksmen have to hustle back with Timofeyev lurking. Malcolm Hayes collects it for Fayetteville. The Marksmen now back in control. Darian Hamilton slithers across the Macon blue line. And Keplinger putting the pressure on. The Mayhem are going to get a 3-on-0. Keplinger left side. He's got Caesar back to Keplinger. Shoots, and it's stopped by Danny Taroni. The Mayhem failing to capitalize on a 3-on-0 rush. Hunter, right side. Dumps it into the zone. Goes around the half wall. Pirog is sandwiched into the boards. He continues fighting for it. He skitters it along to Keplinger below the net. Josh Keplinger from the corner. His shot is blocked. Gets it right back. He pulls the trigger. Missed the right post. Ricochets back to the left point. Larry Smith's shot is blocked. Darius Davidson goes crashing into the corner on the far side, fighting for it. Now it's taken by Brian Bowen, who has just cleared it out to the red line. And it goes beyond that as Hunter will leave it. Nick Minerva's got it. Sends it up to Sumalides. Punched ahead for Davidson. Davidson stick handling inside, outside, lost the puck. And the marksman can't clear it. Davidson gets another chance from in behind the net. Pushes it far into his path and guns it down. Davidson drops it off. Jake is there. He outlets it. Here come the marksmen. Could have been a breakaway, but a mishandle by Alec Marsh prevented that from happening. As Marsh is taken into the end wall now. Ryan Devine fighting for it for Macon in the far corner. It's scooped up by Taylor McCloy. Devine battling against Joe Mitchell for possession. Now the puck slides its way down into Fayetteville territory. We're a quarter of the way through period 2. Still no score. The Mayhem with a 3-on-0 rush earlier in this period and failed to convert. Danny Taroni just wisely stayed deep in his net. Stepan Timofeyev. We'll leave it for Nick Minerva, the New Jersey native. Drops it off to Ryan Devine. Minerva gets a second opportunity to clear and eventually squeaks its way out to the red line. Timofeyev scrapping away for it. Timofeyev delivers a hit into the sideboards between the penalty boxes on Aaron Huffnagel, who escapes with possession on it. Left side. Huffnagel dips the shoulder, leaves it in the slot. A shot from Oliveri is blocked. He is flattened, but the Mayhem not out of danger yet. Timofeyev scoops up the puck in his own slot. Will commence the counterattack. Soper with speed. Left side. He drives. He shoots. He hits the post. And the puck bounces back out into neutral territory. Caleb Cameron feeds Soper the pass. It's intercepted by Nicholas Sage. And now Zach Urban commencing the counterattack for Macon. He's dispossessed of it. DiNicola slips around a check. Here comes Bowen, left circle. His shot, shoulder save. Big rebound out to the slot. Timofeyev is slashed. A penalty's perhaps coming, or looks like the net was dislodged. That could be what caused the whistle. Looked like Timofeyev was slashed, but fortunately for the marksman, the eyes of J.R. Strager were fixated on the dislodged net, so they might have gotten away with one there. But we're going to head to our first media timeout here of period 2. 13:41 to go in the second. No score here in Macon. The fact that this game is scoreless is honestly baffling, folks. There have been 3-on-0 rushes. There have been more than enough scoring opportunities. There have been breakaways. This is by no means a 0-0 type of game. It doesn't have that sort of feel to it. And yet, here we stand in a scoreless stalemate. So the linesman Dan Fendius getting the pegs back, or the net rather, back onto its moorings. And the marksmen are going to get an offensive zone face-off to the left of Cabanetma here. Max Cook against Josh Cousineau in the circle. One by the latter of the two. And it's slapped around by Zach Urban out to Danny Caesar, who pumps it further. Keplinger's going to nullify the icing call. Keplinger centers out front. Cousineau scores! Josh Cousineau has scored the Mayhem's first goal of the 2019-20 season. Defensive zone face-off win by Cousineau. That's the reason that this goal happened. A clean win. The puck went behind the Macon net. Zach Urban fired it around, and Danny Caesar accelerated it. Josh Keplinger hustled into the right corner to win the puck. Got there far before anyone else could, and just centered it out in front. Josh Cousineau was in the right place to receive that pass, and he just tapped it, looked like through the 5-hole of Danny Taroni. And the longtime Pensacola Ice Flyer has gotten on the board first, has given the Mayhem a 1-0 lead as we approach the halfway point of regulation time. Tim Keelik in his own zone. Drives down the left wing side. Keelik taking it in on Jarrett Cup. with a good defensive stick, knocked the puck away. Cup's got it again inside of his own trapezoid and delivers it out to Stathis Sumalitis on the left half wall. He absorbs a hit but cleared it first. And it's Nicholas Sage firing it back towards Keelik and across the Macon line with a lot of space. Keelik sends it around the end wall out towards Don Oliveri on the right half wall. His shot is stopped by Yentma, who is square to the shot. And it bounces all the way back out to center ice. Lesage had his pass go off a Fayetteville skate. And right back on it comes Aaron Huffnagel, who dumps it inside of the Macon trapezoid. Entma rattles it around the wall. Bounces off a partition. The Marksmen going to work along the boards, trying to answer quickly and quell the momentum the Mayhem have gained. But Ortiz from center ice fires it over the net as it sailed over the crossbar by a few inches. Ortiz then delivers a big check. Those glass and the stanchions were moving for several seconds after the fact in behind the net. And now it's Joe Mitchell having to stop behind his own net. Twists and turns and gains some separation. Able to clear it over Soper. Another hit delivered by Ortiz. That's several on that last shift. Hunter back to Smith. Smith up to Soper, who trickles it back into the Fayetteville zone. Timofeyev is first there. Sends it in behind for Caleb Cameron. He's surrounded on all sides by white sweaters. Stepping in, Larry Smith trying to center a pass out in front. Instead, it's taken by the Marksman. And here comes Lesage, or rather Huffnagel. He's able to slither by, but he lost possession of the puck, and Rennie Hunter is able to send it up to Soper. Given now to Timofeyev on his right. Timofeyev surveys, sends the pass over, received wide of the net and fired over top of it. Bounces into the right corner, and Timofeyev sustains a hit from Travis Jake. Slipped out towards Soper, intercepted by the Marksman, and here they come. They're near the end of a shift. Max Cook down the right side. It's closed off by Minerva. Following up, however, was Fayetteville's Tucker Ross, whose shot is paddled away by Kevin Entma. Jake backhands a pass up to Ross, given out to Cook and across the line above the right circle. He will turn. Keplinger sends him down to the ice, and we have a whistle here for a hand pass called against the Marksman. And so the faceoff will exit the Macon zone. We're nearly halfway through regulation time. 10:54 to go in period 2. The Mayhem have a 1-0 lead, courtesy of Josh Cousineau's first goal with the Macon Mayhem. Keplinger and Caesar were on the assist, if I'm not mistaken. The second assist may go to Zach Urban. Puck's been cleared into the zone by Malcolm Hayes, and it's recovered by Ryan Devine of Macon. Dropped off for Nick Minerva, who will chisel it off the boards. No icing here. Hayes could have played it, but allowed it to go. So he will have to take up possession behind his net. Takes a hit from Caesar. Puck is scooped up in the slot and given now to Cousineau, who fires, and a save is made in goal by Taroni. And whacked up towards the left point, held in the zone by Keplinger. Shot from the left circle gets blocked, and the puck rattles its way back out to neutral territory. Keplinger will fire it in from there. That one might have gone off the goaltender, Danny Taroni's mask. He reacted oddly after that happened, and now Alec Marsh for Fayetteville. Turns it over at the blue line upon entering the zone. The Mayhem with a 3-on-2 counterattack. It's Davidson right side, slips into the slot. Minerva gives it down low to Sumalitis. And perhaps one pass too many. The Mayhem didn't even get a shot on goal, but we're halfway through period 2, 1-0 the score. Here comes Nicholas Sage. He dumps it into the right corner, and Derek Cupp will fetch it. Cupp sidesteps Bowen. His pass is outside of the reach of the intended target, icing the call against Macon, and that icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. And a good time to take an icing penalty, as the Mayhem will have a chance to take a breather due to the second intermission, or second media timeout of the second intermission. 9:42 to play in the second period. 1-0 Macon your score. Another scoreboard shows 1-0, folks, but really it's been a strange one, that's for sure, which you kind of expect. Normally, the opening night, there's some things that happen that you don't normally see, just because everybody's at least a little bit rusty in terms of being in game shape and having the live game atmosphere experience, and nobody's really had it much of late, aside from the preseason, which anyone will tell you just isn't the same thing. But I'll tell you, folks, this game could very easily be 3, 4, 5-0 in favor of Macon, and that's not to say that they've dominated the game, but they have had so many A-plus scoring chances They've had breakaways. They've had shots trickle through the equipment of Danny Taroni and just go wide. They've had redirects just go wide. They've had a 3-on-0 in this period. Short-handed opportunities from point-blank range. Danny Taroni has had an outstanding game in net for Fayetteville. But so far, he has met his match in Kevin Etma for Macon, who's looked just as solid as he did last season when he joined the Mayhem towards the end of the campaign. Jarrett Cup from the left point. We'll send it around the end boards. Stephen Pirog is there. He drops it back into the corner from which he got it. Davidson goes in fighting for it with Pirog in close proximity. Soper now on the far half wall. Will roll it back up to the blue line. Puck flutters its way into the left circle. Pirog scoops it up and shoots. Goes off the inside of the post. Stays out. Davidson with the rebound, and the referee J.R. Strager quickly giving the washout signal, saying no goal. Well, Stephen Pirog nearly able to sneak that shot off the inside of the right post and into the net, but it just did not take the best of bounces for him. And there is another excellent scoring opportunity for the Mayhem that's gone by the wayside. And I imagine for a team that's leading, the Mayhem have got to be about as frustrated as you could possibly get for a team that's ahead. .9:03 yet to play here in period 2. 1-0 the score. Josh Kuzno, the lone goal scorer so far tonight. Tim Keelik besting Caleb Cameron in the defensive zone face-off, but Nick Minerva receives it. Good skate-to-stick reception at the blue line, and he will dump it back in. The Marksmen are out to center with it. O'Day down the left side. Couldn't chip one to himself. He attempted to get through Ryan Devine. Couldn't do it. The Marksmen now backpedaling in their own zone. Nicholas Sage has it. Jimmy Soper loses his stick, but delivers the check regardless. Keelik on the outlet up to Matt O'Day on the left wing side. Keelik drives to the front of the net. O'Day to the tail gunner. Backhand pass. Turnaround shot is off the mark. Entma was covering the left post well. O'Day receives the puck, and a shot from the point is steered aside by Entma, who scrambles and knocks it aside with his paddle. Tim Keelik, left half boards, delays. The Mayhem staggered now in the defensive zone, keeping tight pressure on the puck carrier. Both teams in the midst of line changes here as it's been outletted by Ryan Devine. Bank pass on the tape for Josh Keplinger, who delays and centers it. Goes hotly off the stick of Josh Kuzno, steered aside by the goaltender, Danny Taroni. Now it's centered out front, redirected on goal. Taroni the save, denying Kuzno of his second goal in the same period. 7:53 now to go in period 2. 1-0 Macon. It was a great welcome to Macon moment for Josh Kuzno, who's been in this league a long time. Was the captain of the Pensacola Ice Flyers last season. Well-respected veteran in this league. And it was a pretty interesting story when he decided to come to Macon. The folks down in Pensacola were heartbroken at that decision. Very beloved player down there. Keplinger's sharp angle shot is kicked away by Taroni. The puck squirts out to the half wall on the far side. It's scooped up by Taylor McCloy. The alternate captain will rattle it around, and it's been cleared now by Alec Marsh. Back on the defensive, Larry Smith takes a hit, gets it up to Kuzno. Dropped off from Kuzno to Keplinger, who centers it. Slap shot by Caesar, blocked by Travis Jake, who is unbeknownst to its whereabouts, but he blocked the shot with his stick all the same. 7:20 to go in the second. 1-0 Macon. Shots appearing even at 17 apiece. Jake with a nice head fake and a dish up the gut, and now here comes Alec Marsh down the right side. Slips away from one, then centers. The puck is hacked into the glove of Kevin Entma, who will hang on to it. Getting back to the story, which I sort of hinted at earlier, never fully told, but the Fayetteville captains were decided by Marksman head coach Jesse Kalecki this past week after the preseason was over. They went on a retreat, and while swimming upstream during this retreat, almost in sort of like a mariachi line from what I was told, that's when Jesse Kalecki announced the team captains. Interesting way to do it, but you gotta love it. Left point shot through a screen by Lesage is blocked. Sumilidis collects it and fires it out to center ice, bounces off the stick of Ortiz. The Marksman right back into the zone. Here's Bowen, overskates it, 3-on-1 the other way. Ortiz right side, he's got Pirog on his left. Ortiz the shot, he scores! Marcus Ortiz has doubled Macon's lead, it's 2-0. Boy, it takes a lot of confidence for a player to pull the trigger on a 3-on-1 rush like that. The defenseman is instructed in situations like that to take care of the pass. The goaltender is instructed to take care of the shot. You're not going to stop that. A perfectly placed shot. Looked to me like it was low blocker on Timoni. It was called an unassisted goal. There's, however, going to be another penalty called against Macon, the third tonight. Fayetteville has enjoyed a penalty-free evening. They have not been sent to the box once. And the Mayhem going back to the PK for the third time. They're 2 for 2 thus far. Cameron with a clean win on the draw. It's been blasted out, but not completely past the blue line. Held in the zone and fired at the net. And a good save is made on Nick DiNicola by Kevin Etma. DiNicola overskates it, leaves it behind the net. And now stick handling in close quarters. Taylor McCloy able to bounce one off the half wall back to the blue line for Don Oliveri. Oliveri gets rid of it. McCloy the shot. Stick save by Kevin Etma. And a good body check in the corner by Danny Caesar. Whipped around the boards, out past the blue line. Oliveri has to retreat at least as far as the red line to play the puck. 5:52 to go. Good split pass up the middle. Driving, shooting, stopping it. Entma. Alec Marsh had a chance, but Entma had the stick save. Entma has looked sharp as a knife tonight, folks. Last season sort of made his case as the goaltender of the future. As well known, Jordan Ruby was on his way out. He's this season got a full-time roster spot up with the Wheeling Nailers in the ECHL, the Pittsburgh Penguins affiliate. And Ian Silvas, of course, electing to play in Hungary this season, so he did not return, thereby leaving Kevin Etma as the guy for this season. Max Cook swivels across the blue line from the right circle. His shot is denied by Entma, who's down in the butterfly. One-timer from Jake is blocked by Stathis Humilitas and cleared by Pirog. And the Marksmen will have to reset. This Mayhem penalty kill is brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air Conditioning. 50 seconds remain on it now as the Marksmen attempt to enter the zone. Cook and a dangle through a pair of Macon skates belonging to Jarrett Cupp. It's been sent around the boards, cut off by Bowen. Side of the net pass for Max Cook. Up to the blue line for Travis Jake. He floats a shot over top of the net, bounces off a partition. Zach Urban wraps up Tim Keelik. 5 or 6 players fighting for it now. Jake wide open between the circles. Good toe drag and a shot. He scores. Travis Jake displaying why he was the SPHL's Defenseman of the Year last season with excellent poise, able to do a toe drag around a Mayhem penalty killer and just snap a shot off from the inside of the right circle. Finally, somebody is able to beat Kevin Etma. Time was winding down on the PK, 24 seconds. The Marksmen have finally capitalized on their man advantage. 2-1 the score in favor of Macon with 4:51 to play in period 2. Excellent hands and patience there by Travis Jake. A lot of defensemen in that scenario would have shot the puck immediately and it would have been blocked. I believe it was Danny Caesar who was down prepared to block the shot. And Jake did a toe drag around him. We're going to head to immediate timeout. Back when Jake was at Boston College, now I've heard that some people pronounce his name Jeek. It is spelled Jeke. And back when he was at Boston College, there were a lot of folks in the audience who had signs that said Jeeks like Deek, or Deeks like Jeek, however they decided to word it, but he certainly showed that he knows how to deke. I've been told it's pronounced Jakes. That's what I'll keep going with. The face-off is going to come back into the Macon zone here. It's going to be Caleb Cameron responsible for winning the draw, countered by Joe Mitchell of Fayetteville. Mitchell trying to get it back to Jake off the draw to get him a shot from the blue line. Couldn't quite get it all the way there. And the Mayhem have managed to work it back across the line. Larry Smith is going to have to go after it in the far corner. Smith fighting for it. Caleb Cameron delivers a hit into the end wall. Now it's Rennie Hunter angling it off the boards, and it skitters its way past Jake all the way down. No icing called here, and Travis Jake's going to have to make a play. He slides it up into the slot, picked off by Cameron, who skates it wide. He is tripped, no penalty. Slap shot by Smith, redirected, save. And Timoni has no clue where it is. They scramble away, and the whistle blows. Jimmy Soper goes right after. Looks like that's Tim Keelick. Check that, it's Tucker Ross. Saw something Ross was doing that he didn't like, and Soper immediately just wrapped him up. There's gloves and sticks down there. Looks like a yard sale. Soper's going to collect it. Give it back to whoever it belongs to. It's one of his teammates. And Ross is going to have a seat, so there was certainly something that he did. Didn't see the beginning of that scuffle. But Soper certainly took exception to it. And will the Mayhem get a chance on the power play here? It appears so. Fayetteville having just clicked on theirs. Last season, the Mayhem's power play certainly struggled at times. But it's a whole new season, and they're going to try to prove themselves right off the bat here. 5 forwards out, or check that, 4 forwards and 1 defenseman, the lone one being Nick Minerva at the blue line, who gives it to Cameron, whose pass was pretty hot to handle, but Davidson keeps it in the zone from the left side. He gives it down to Cameron, who popped it back in front. Sumalitas turns and slides it to Nick Minerva. Given left circle, Davidson's shot is blockered, lands above the left circle. Sumalitas is able to corral it and feed it down to Stephen Pirog in the left corner. Cameron setting up shop near the goaltender, now skates out to the right circle. Minerva's pass is picked off. Here comes Fayetteville in transition. It's Malcolm Hayes, the defenseman, who will just dump it in. Minerva will get it, and Leo Thomas sends out his secondary power play unit now. Minute 15 remains on this power play, brought to you by Wild Wing Cafe. Minerva over the blue line, gives it to Pirog, who had it slapped off his blade and out of play. The question is, where will this face-off take place? Will it be in the Fayetteville zone or in the circle in the neutral zone? Probably the latter, though Josh Keplinger is arguing that it should take place in the Fayetteville zone. That flying puck was brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair, and Keplinger's got a point. The puck was cleared out of play from inside of the Fayetteville zone. It's too bad he majored in biology and not pre-law. So from the half wall, he will send it into the right corner, hoping for Marcus Ortiz. He's dispossessed of it. Here come the Marksmen. They could get a 2-on-1 short-handed rush. Left side, it's Luke Stork. And the shot is stopped by Entma, who is plowed into, and Ortiz is not happy. He takes a run at Luke Stork after Entma was crashed into following that 2-on-1 rush. J.R. Strager's arm went up. This will either be a 5-on-3 or offsetting. We'll see. Or perhaps just against Ortiz. He's the only one currently skating to the box. And is Strager going to send anybody from Fayetteville into the All-State bonding penalty box? We'll wait and see. So my first thought was that it would be goaltender interference because of the way Entma was crashed into, but oftentimes the defending team is actually responsible for the collision with the goaltender because he's trying so hard to back check. He inadvertently sort of pushes the attacking player into the netminder, and what looks like a careless play by the attacking team is actually a complete accident. And that happens at times, and it looks like that must be what happened here. Ortiz now in the Beyond Taboo Tattoo penalty box. And it looks like we'll go to the 4-on-4. That will be for 49 seconds. And then 1:11 of Fayetteville power play time. So the Mayhem's power play has come to an end. We've dropped to 0 for 1 on the night. And this is the first time this evening we're seeing a 4-on-4 situation. .252 remains in the second period. The Mayhem with a 2-1 lead. The puck drops. Cameron wins the draw, able to beat out Alec Marsh. Interference, the call against Marcus Ortiz. Now here's Ryan Devine. The crowd obviously not liking that call by J.R. Strager. Caleb Cameron's got it behind his own net. He will drop it to Nick Minerva. Minerva begins to pick up some speed from his own zone. And across the Mayhem logo in the neutral zone. Feathers one into the corner. It's batted down skillfully by Nicholas Age. And now it's going to be taken by Taylor McCloy. Lost a handle on it. The bank pass outside of the reach of Cameron, who would have had a 2-on-1 rush had he received it. Instead, it's played by Fayetteville's Nicholas Age behind his own net. Entma tapping his stick, signaling the end of the penalty. Out of the box now is Tucker Ross. The Marksmen are back to full strength. Keelik losing the puck to Danny Caesar, who's outnumbered but will begin a shorthanded rush into the Marksman zone. His long shot is stopped by the chest of Danny Taroni. Jimmy Soper pushing and shoving with Tim Keelik not long ago away from the play. Puck's been cleared all the way down with 45 seconds remaining on this penalty kill. This Mayhem penalty kill is brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air. Travis Jake takes a hit in his own zone by Steven Pirog on the forecheck. The marksman will get it out to center ice now. Cook off to Bowen on his right. Bowen will drop it back to Cook. From the circle, he centers it. Jake fanned on it, but he recovered. Give it down to Bowen in the left corner and return and get the pass back at the blue line. And Jake's shot is blocked by a Macon stick, but it stays in play. Keelik from the far corner puts it below the net. And Cook is pickpocketed. It's been cleared by Rennie Hunter off of Bowen. 2-on-1 shorthanded rush. Sumalitas right circle shoots. And he airmailed that one. It went well over the crossbar, but it stayed in play. Now the Marksman in transition. Keelik left side. He is shoved multiple times by Rennie Hunter. The Mayhem have returned to full strength and have improved to 3 for 4 on the PK tonight. Puck is scooped up by Larry Smith. The Buffalo native from his own zone slides it up the left wing for Marcus Ortiz. Ortiz then delivers a huge check into the half wall against Malcolm Hayes, who lost his helmet as a result. Fans loving that collision, but look out, Minerva lost an edge. Here's a chance, wrist shot sails over the net, and it will eke its way back to the blue line. The Mayhem with another potential odd man rush. Jimmy Soper sends it in front, tapped on goal by Cameron, and denied by a sprawling pad save made by Danny Taroni. Puck's been cleared off the glass. 10 seconds to go in the second period. The Mayhem lead 2-1. Fayetteville charging in across the Macon blue line, and an offside whistle is blown against the Marksmen. 5.5 seconds remain in the second period. Time enough for one shot. And in the neutral zone face-off means it can come from either team. Shots right now showing 29-17. I don't think that they're that lopsided, but the Mayhem certainly with an edge in scoring chances, especially in this second period here. It's been a 3-goal period after a scoreless opening stanza. Ryan Devine will just safely take it behind his own net and let time expire. A very strong showing from the home team here in their 5th anniversary season opening night in Macon. 2-1 the score in favor of the Mayhem. All 3 of the goals have been scored in that second period. Mayhem are going to hope to keep the good times rolling in period 3. And the Mayhem on the penalty kill looking pretty strong so far. The only mishap came earlier in that period to close out the middle stanza. Fayetteville got on the board. Travis Jake found the puck. It just sort of rolled up the slot, landed on his stick, and if I'm not mistaken, it was Danny Caesar who went down to block the shot. Caesar did his job, and there was really, it's not like anybody blew their coverage or anyone was out of position on the part of the Mayhem. It's just that Travis Jake, he's arguably the best offensive defenseman in the SPHL for a reason, folks, and that patience and that poise, and a little toe drag move that he did to get around Danny Caesar and get a better shot off. That right there, in a nutshell, is why he was able to put up 38 points last season. But outside of him, nobody on Fayetteville has been able to solve Entma so far. And at least according to the scoreboard here, Entma has faced 17 shots. He has stopped 16 of them. On the other side, an equally impressive performance by Danny Taroni, who has stopped 27 of the 29 shots he's faced, including a 3-on-0 rush. Both netminders have looked strong, and I think that's why the scoreboard looks a lot more modest than the play would suggest. 2-1, Macon, heading into intermission number 2. Well, we hope you've enjoyed the broadcast thus far, folks, on SPHL Live and on YouTube. We're thrilled to be bringing you the Mayhem's home opening night here in their 5th annual season. While we step aside, we're going to play a few interviews back your way. The first will be from Fayetteville assistant coach Corey Melker, a former SPHL defenseman, played on Fayetteville and Pensacola last year. Melkert's making his pro coaching debut tonight on the bench for Fayetteville. So it's an exciting night for Corey Melkert, one of many for whom this is an enormous night. So the Marksman assistant coach, Corey Melkert, will be first, and then we'll play back the Pirog interview and possibly the Leo Thomas interview from the first intermission, from the pregame show, if we have time. As I'm going to need to step away from the press box for a few moments, unfortunately. So in the meantime, please do enjoy these interviews coming your way next on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. 2-1 Mayhem, your score through the first 2/3 of this one. All right, welcome back, folks, and thanks again so much for joining us tonight on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on SPHL Live and on YouTube. I had the pleasure of being joined by Marksman assistant coach Corey Melkert in his first season, first game as the assistant coach of the Fayetteville Marksmen. First off, Coach, really appreciate your time, and thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Corey, you're making your pro coaching debut tonight, like we said. How does it feel for you?
I'm actually really excited. You know, it's a lot different than being a player, but you know, we're excited with the team we have, and I'm really looking forward to get going here.
Definitely, and you enjoyed a pretty long playing career, 4 years at college, 4 years pro, most of which time was spent in the SPHL here. Did you know for a while towards the end of your career that you wanted to get into coaching after playing, or was it more of an opportunity that just kind of came up unexpectedly during the off season?
Going into last year, you know, I really thought it was going to be my last year, and I knew all along I wanted to get into coaching, so you know, me and Jesse had a conversation at the end of last year, and the opportunity presented itself, and obviously I had to jump on it, and you know, I couldn't be more happy. So.
Yeah, and it seems to me like, in particular, defensemen from this league tend to move up to being coaches almost immediately after their careers are over. You've got, Stuart Steffen in Huntsville and Ryan Michael here in Macon, and now yourself. Is there something about playing the position of defense that's sort of conducive to making that transition to a coach?
Well, obviously, I think being a defenseman helps because most of the assistant coach run the D-corps during games and stuff, but more so, I think it's important playing in the league. I think that's a big importance, you know, knowing the league, knowing the players, knowing everything. I think that helps. So, you know, you get to help out the young guys, and you just have a wealth of knowledge. So.
Yeah, and speaking of young guys, there's quite a few that'll be under your command tonight and going forward this season, particularly defensemen on this roster. But on top of that, you've got the reigning SPHL Defenseman of the Year, who was your former teammate last season, Travis Jake. How does it feel to have the core of defensemen that you do under your belt in the first game as a head coach or an assistant coach here?
You know what? We actually think our strength on our team is our D. I mean, everyone looks really good. We got some Division I guys back there, and then we have Jeek. You know, Jeek is a really good player. He won D-Man of the Year last year. He looks great so far. He had a really good offseason. Then we brought in Olive very well, which has played 5 years. So, I mean, we got some experience and some young guys. So we're really excited about our D-core.
Definitely. Travis Jake, number 14 on Fayetteville, always somebody you have to watch out for. He led the SPHL in scoring by a defenseman last season with 38 points. Very mobile, good puck-moving defenseman at the blue line. Coach, I'm going to ask you one last question, then I'll let you get going. You've played against Macon many times throughout your career, played in this building many times with several different teams. Last year when you were with Fayetteville and with Pensacola, you were here quite a bit, obviously, due to the proximity. What specific challenges come to mind for you that are unique to playing against the Mayhem?
I mean, for me, I think Macon always has a good group of forwards. I mean, it's just the same with this year, looking over their roster. I think their forwards are very talented. You know, they can score on the rush, they can score on the power play. So it's just something we have to be aware of and, you know, play hard on them. So looking forward to get the game going here.
Definitely, as are we. It's been 6 months, far too long without hockey, and we can't wait to get the season started. Corey, best of luck to you in your assistant coaching debut, and again, really appreciate your time.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
That's Corey Melkert, assistant coach for the Fayetteville Marksmen, making his coaching debut tonight. This has been your second intermission report. We'll be back in just a moment with your out-of-town scoreboard updates and more right after this. Keep it right here. Okay, folks, welcome back again. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network, SPHL Live, and on YouTube. Hope you've enjoyed your night and the broadcast thus far. I've had the privilege of being joined by returning center, well, returning in a way, Stephen Pirog. Stephen, first off, really appreciate your time, and thanks for being here tonight.
It's great. I'm glad to be here.
How does it feel just being back in Macon again?
Feels like home. 3 years ago I was here. I developed my pro career here. Everybody here seems like family. Everybody's so nice. The organization is great. There was no other place I would rather go but here.
Definitely. And speaking of that, Stephen, most people did not really expect you to be back this season. You spent the entirety of last season playing for Kevin Kerr in the ECHL. Your return was a tremendous surprise to our fan base over the summer. What more than anything would you say is what drove your decision to come back here?
I just wanted to play somewhere where I felt like it was home, just like I said before. I loved it here. We won a championship here. The reason why I play is I love winning in anything, and I feel like when I had an opportunity here again, I felt like we had a great team coming here, and I just want to bring another championship home.
Now, I understand you kept yourself pretty busy over the off season, some non-hockey related work. You were telling me you're really passionate when it comes to building and renovation and whatnot. For some of the folks who might not know, if you wouldn't mind just kind of getting into a little more detail about what you did over the summer.
Yeah, I worked for a custom home building company. Back home, we work on big homes that we develop. So whenever the trades kind of mess up, I come in and fix things. So I pretty much just go in. I do from everything. I learned every type of trade there is through the last 4 years. It's just been a summer job for me. It's my best friend's dad's company. I kind of grew up with it. So 5 years later down the road, I know a few things. So it just developed to be a habit for me now, and I really enjoy it.
See, that's awesome to me. I think it's so cool, just kind of a subtlety of minor league hockey that a lot of people don't really understand or appreciate, is that a lot of these players, they're not just hockey players. They do other stuff like construction, like yourself, and then a lot of guys who do kind of conservation type work, a lot of guys who work at golf courses, you name it. So I think it's something that's kind of unique to the landscape here that you might not see, in the NHL, obviously, which kind of, I think it gives you guys some unique personality traits and whatnot. So it's interesting. But Stephen, I wanted to congratulate you as well, because this morning you were officially named as the 4th captain in franchise history, joining the ranks of some pretty exclusive company there. What does it mean to you to be able to wear the C for this organization, and have you ever done that before in your career?
It's an honor. When Leo told me, I was pretty excited. Anybody to wear that, just to give that symbol out there. But in the end, we all are a family. We all work together. Everybody kind of has the same word here. So, having that C on the chest feels nice, but in the end, we're all a family. Everybody has the same word in the dressing room. It just doesn't. It means a lot to me. But back in the past, I was a captain once in minor hockey, but that was the last time. I was an assistant captain with the Peterborough Petes too. But here, it's different because I've played here for a longer time. Coming back to a home where I feel like is home and welcome me with that, it felt really good.
Definitely, and lots of new additions to the roster this year, who I think are going to be looking up to the likes of yourself and the three alternate captains who are named today as well. Stathis Sumalidis, who you won a championship with a few years ago, and then Caleb Cameron, of course, and Jimmy Soper. I'll ask one more question of you, Steve, and then I'll let you get going. I know you're busy here. You played in this league back when the Marksmen were known as the Fayetteville Fire Ants. You've got plenty of experience playing against them as an organization, but not really any time recently. What's kind of your scouting report on what this team can bring to the table as a challenge tonight?
Well, coming in here, Leo is very good with that, very keeping up to date for how they are with teams. So he kind of filled me in about what I've missed in the last 2 years too. But just coming in, playing our game, we've been having great practices. We're a very fast team. We're going to be very physical. And if we bring our hard-working game here, I think it's going to turn out very well for us.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time again, Stephen. Good luck out there tonight. And this is a home opening night for the 5th annual season here in Macon. It's a big night for all of us, not the least of whom is yourself. So go get them tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's Stephen Pirog, the captain of your Macon Mayhem. This has been your first intermission report. We'll be back in just a moment with your out-of-town scoreboard update and more right after this. Okay, welcome back, everybody. We hope you enjoyed hearing that interview back. In case you missed it the first time, that was Stephen Pirog, the recently appointed captain of your 2019-20 Macon Mayhem, sporting the number 11 this season. He's somebody who has actually been here since the very beginning. Now, he hasn't stayed here that whole time, but he played in Macon in its inaugural year in 2015-16. Nobody else in the lineup can say that. So a lot of experience playing pro and playing in Macon. This is where he wants to be. He said that several times. He would like to end his career here. So from our understanding, he does not really have any interest in going back to the ECHL this season. He's committed to playing for the Mayhem throughout the entirety of the campaign. He was on the ice for a lot of good scoring opportunities that the Mayhem had, but has not gotten on the score sheet just yet. The Mayhem, however, did. They lead 2-1. Goals coming off the sticks of Josh Cousineau and Marcus Ortiz in that order. Cousineau's tally being assisted by Josh Keplinger and Danny Caesar. Take a quick look around the SPHL for an out-of-town scoreboard update. We'll play the Leo Thomas interview back one more time, and then we'll get ready for period 3. Knoxville trailing Evansville 2-1 at the moment, late in period 2. And Huntsville is in Birmingham tonight, that inter-Alabama matchup. Rematch of the President's Cup final from last season. No score through the first period of play, and then Roanoke on the road in Pensacola has a 1-0 advantage over the Ice Flyers. This has been your Hampton Inn & Suites out-of-town scoreboard update. Like we said, folks, we're going to play that Leo Thomas interview back one more time, and then we'll get underway for period 3. Stay tuned, folks. You listen to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. 2-1 Mayhem, your score. All right, welcome back to our pregame show, folks. We're so happy to have you with us here for our home opener in our 5th anniversary season. As always, I'm joined by the head coach of the Macon Mayhem, Leo Thomas. Coach, this is the 5th anniversary season in Macon, like we said. Begins tonight. You've been here for 4 of those 5 seasons. What does this year in particular mean for the organization?
It's huge. It's obviously huge. Hockey's come a long way here in Macon over the last 5 years, and I'm just happy to be a part of it here in my 4th year and this 5th year in existence. So, the ultimate goal is to try to bring that championship back here to Macon. So.
Definitely, and you've had a pretty good chance to look at this team so far, about a week or so since most of the players started arriving, a little bit longer. What kind of stands out to you as one of the most glaring differences between this year's squad and last year's?
It'd have to be just the overall leadership, guys that have played in this league a long time or for a few years or more. And, I look around the names of our forwards and the few D that we have back there, and there's a lot of experience and leadership. Guys that have gone through those tough battles and won championships and stuff like that. So that's the most glaring thing I see now. And the way the guys compete in practice and stuff like that's been really, really impressive and a positive thing leading into this weekend. So.
Now, speaking of leadership, you named your captains officially this morning. Tell us about the decisions that you made.
Yeah, no, it's, I think P-Rog's a guy who's been here before. He's shows what it takes to be a leader, and he works hard in practice, and guys follow suit. And, guys like Sumi, who's back for his third year or so, and already had the A last year. And I think with Cam and Soper, those are kind of two younger guys who've proven themselves over the last few years and have that presence in the locker room and also on the ice and practice and stuff like that. So that's kind of the way I went. But again, I have, another 3 or 4 guys who have been the captain in this league before or have wore a letter. So the leadership shouldn't be a problem in our room at all. So.
Without a doubt, and that bodes well for the new additions to the team. Speaking of, there's quite a few of them. Several players who are going to be making their professional debuts tonight for the Mayhem. Darius Davidson, Stepan Timofeyev, and Renee Hunter. They're all in the lineup tonight for what will be their first professional game. Just kind of go over some of the qualities you expect them to be able to bring to the table this season.
Yeah, for them, it's just getting their feet going, and first couple shifts just play real simple. But all 3 guys are capable of playing at this level. They've showed it in practice, and they're smart players. Each one brings kind of a different element, and that's why they're here. And they all looked good in preseason game as well. So for them to get that first period under their belt, and I'm sure they'll calm down, get comfortable as the game goes on, and we'll see what they can do.
They did certainly look good in the preseason game. Excited to see numbers 27, 12, and 4 suiting up for the Mayhem tonight for the first time in this uniform. The 3 of them. Rennie Hunter, by the way, his parents in all the way from Ebb and Flow, Manitoba. A long haul to come watch their son make his professional debut tonight. An exciting weekend for Rennie Hunter. Last question I have for you, Coach. Fayetteville has historically struggled in this building, especially over the past few years here. But we saw exactly how competitive those games were last season against them in this building. There weren't any blowouts like there were a couple years ago. A much upgraded squad from the year prior. How is that team looking heading into tonight?
Yeah, I think we talked about this before. Every team's gotten better over the summer, and Kalecki and Melkert have done a good job recruiting and putting together a pretty good team. Obviously, we haven't seen them yet. This is strictly off roster and names, but we can't take any team lightly in this league, especially in our home opener. And they're going to come in hungry. They're obviously going to want to spoil our opener. So we just got to be ready for everything, and play a hard-fought game, and come out with the W.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck out there tonight.
Thank you, man.
That's Leo Thomas, the head coach of your Macon Mayhem, heading into the home opener here on our 5th anniversary season. This has been your pregame show. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, welcome back, everybody. We're just about ready for third period action here in Macon. The Mayhem up 2-1. They got the better of the Marksmen in that second period, to be sure. Josh Cousineau, Marcus Ortiz each getting on the board. Cousineau's strike coming 6:29 into the second period. Danny Caesar, Josh Keplinger on the assists. And Keplinger just outraced everybody. He hustled into the right corner, fetched the puck, saw Cousineau creeping down the slot, and fed him a nice centering pass, which Cousineau just tapped through the 5-hole of Danny Tironi, who up till that point had been perfect. No longer the case. Less than 7 minutes later, Marcus Ortiz, 3-on-1, had the option to give it to Pirog, who you've got him on an odd man rush, and you've got Steven Pirog wide open to your left on his weak side, meaning he's got the one-time option open. You've got to be tempted, at least tempted, to pass it to him. And Marcus Ortiz was not. Now, he might have been tempted, but he pulled the trigger with confidence, and he beat Tironi cleanly. But then Fayetteville's Travis Jake got an answer on a power play strike. And we stand at 2-1, favoring Macon entering period 3. Jake's got it on his stick now in the neutral zone and will carry it across the Macon blue line before hammering a shot just over the crossbar. And it's pumped into the right corner by Taylor McCloy. A three-man scrap ensues, and Jarrett Cup will rattle it around his own end wall. Zach Urban up to Darius David offside. Davidson will just fire it back into the Fayetteville zone. It's promptly kicked out of there, and here comes Alec Marsh for the Marksmen. Was denied on a breakaway 4-on-4 earlier in this game. He will deliver it back to the point for Nicholas Sage. Puck finds its way coming to Ryan Devine, who had his pass intercepted by Don Oliveri. Devine will get another chance, and this time will make the safe play up to Danny Caesar, who assisted on Macon's first goal tonight. Caesar finishes his check, but Brian Bowen's got the puck now. He crisscrosses with Max Cook entering the zone. Cook gets it off the paddle, save from Entma, back to the line, wrist shot through traffic, block, second shot, Entma with another save, and he covers the puck at the side of his goal. Kevin Entma did an excellent job tracking that puck through all that traffic standing in front of him. He's been so sound positionally tonight, folks. His understudy this evening, Alex Fatinos, also from the Toronto area, dressed or suited up for Toronto Maple Leafs practice while he was at university up in the Toronto area. The Maple Leafs needed an emergency netminder to step in during one of their practices, and Fatinos was more than happy to jump on the opportunity. We got to see him quite a bit during the preseason. Played pretty well. Now here comes Tucker Ross, dangling in across the blue line, had his shot blocked by a Macon stick, and that flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. There's a chance we see Fatinos in goal tomorrow night. Last season towards the beginning, when Jordan Ruby and Gordon Day Field had a timeshare with the Macon net, Leo Thomas decided to sort of alternate while they were both hot. And tomorrow the Mayhem are hosting the defending President's Cup champion Huntsville Havoc, defending two-time President's Cup champions. They've now won it 2 seasons in a row. The last team to do it besides them were the Mayhem in 2017. Stathis Soumalides slips by Travis Jake. Puck's been flung high off the glass, and it will land near Larry Smith at the red line. He slides it over to Rennie Hunter. Hunter's diagonal pass reaches Stathis Soumalides. Across the blue line for Marcus Ortiz. The Texan puts it in behind the net. Stephen Pirog fighting for it against Fayetteville's Luke Stork. Loose puck collected by Ortiz and fed across the crease. Ortiz takes a check by Malcolm Hayes and goes after him. There's going to be a penalty as it was. Now this could lead to more. Well, Soumalides and Hayes just can't stop chirping one another at the time. Ortiz had a few words for him as well, but it looks like Soumalides is the only one going to the box. The crowd doesn't like that. Fayetteville back to its 5th power play tonight. By comparison, the Mayhem have had just 1 man advantage. One of the keys of tonight's game was staying disciplined. The Mayhem do not want to find themselves in a position in which they're losing players due to suspensions, and they certainly do not want to give Travis Jake and company time on the power play. But the Marksmen hoping to tie this game. Their lone goal so far tonight came on the power play, and it was scored by the man with the puck right now, Travis Jake, who fires, pad save, rebound, score, and just like that, we've got a tie game. It's Max Cook with the goal, Travis Jake with the primary assist, and we're all leveled up at 2 goals apiece. The Marksmen improving to 2 for 5 on the power play tonight. Well, Fayetteville getting just what the doctor ordered, scoring less than 2.5 minutes into the 3rd period. We've got a 2-2 score on our hands now, and we're back to square one. Puck was dropped prematurely by the linesman. They get the job done this time, and the Mayhem fire it in from center ice immediately. Danny Caesar got it on net, and it was stopped by Danny Taroni. And Caesar keeping the pressure on, trying to win the puck back. He succeeds. It's at his skates. He gets it down to Keplinger, who turns, hoping to center. Kuzno goes in behind the net and whips it back in front, picked off by Malcolm Hayes, who commences the counterattack with Nick DiNicola. He will spear one in DiNicola's vicinity. He will take Jarrett Cupp into the corner boards. Zach Urban's attempted clear, sealed off. And the Marksmen, hoping to take their first lead of this game. A backhand shot by Alec Marsh is handled by Entma. The Mayhem will take a defensive zone face-off in the coming seconds here. 2-2 now your score. And for the first time since early in the second period, this game is now tied. Travis Jake contributing in a big way on both of Fayetteville's goals, each of which were scored on the power play. Mayhem doing an excellent job in their first couple of penalty kills, but things have slipped through their fingers a little bit on their last few. Stephen Pirog winning the defensive zone draw cleanly, and Larry Smith can't clear it. Sealed by Keelik. Sumalides pursuing it. He will catch up to it. Rennie Hunter tapping his stick. Sumalides decided to shoot, and it went off the outside of the right post. Rennie Hunter fighting for it. Puck's been cleared out as far as the red line. Sumalides will drill one back in, and Danny Taroni behind his net will clear it around the corner boards. Sumalides trying to seal it and prevent it from advancing any further. He's outnumbered. The Marksmen on both sides of him. Pirog digging in, sending the puck wide of the crease. And then Darius Davidson on the far side cuts it off. Tries to feather one in front. Now rolls back up the half wall. Rennie Hunter pinches. Tim Keelik takes over now. His pass lands on Oliveri's stick. He will blast it in from center ice. Easy pad save by Kevin Entma. Larry Smith throws Matt O'Day down with a clean hit, but he's going to be penalized for boarding. It's now 6 power plays for Fayetteville, 1 for Macon. They're calling that boarding or a hit from behind. The Mayhem have really got to dial in here and keep Fayetteville's lethal power play off the score sheet, because they have struck on 2 of their last 3 opportunities with the man advantage. And the most dangerous player, Travis Jake, is out there. Puck drops, the Marksmen win the draw. Jake sends it in behind the net. Jarrett Cupp is closed off by Luke Stork. Back to the left point it goes. Brian Bowen twists it back to Jake. Did well to keep it in the zone. His shot gets blocked, and the puck floats past the blue line and out. Travis Jake is in after it. Jimmy Soper pursuing him. Jake whips a saucer pass up to Brian Bowen near the Mayhem logo at center ice. Now gives it to his left for the zone entry. Luke Stork takes it deep into Macon territory. He'll reverse it up the half wall. Brian Bowen tees up a slap shot. Chest save Entma. The puck skitters into the corner now, and it'll be collected by Tim Keelik. He rolls back around the wall to the half boards, and it's Bowen stopping, trying to get away from Stephen Pirog. Pirog staying tight on him. Travis Jake receives it at the blue line, tees it up, gives it off to Bowen, side of the net to Cook. He centers it. Shot was whiffed on by Luke Stork. Travis Jake creeps in into the high slot for a one-timer by Bowen. It's blocked. Soper picks up the puck. He's able to clear it out to the Mayhem logo at center ice. Travis Jake has got it. 53 seconds remain on this Fayetteville power play. This Mayhem penalty kill is brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air Conditioning. It's the 6th time they've been shorthanded tonight. Ryan Devine. Puck's batted out of midair, no high stick. It's Colt McCloy who sends it, or Taylor McCloy rather. His pass was too hot to handle. It went out the other side. And now it's Don Oliveri who's got it at the blue line. Waits. Didn't see a shooting lane. Finds one. Fires. Entma the save. Late reaction by Entma, who I don't think saw it until the last moment. Cousineau outnumbered along the half wall on the far side. 16 seconds remain on this Mayhem penalty kill. Nick DiNicola fighting for it. Finally, the Marksmen dig the puck free out of that scrap. Oliveri tees up a shot. It gets blocked. The Mayhem are exhausted. Time winding down. Taylor McCloy Here's an opportunity for DiNicola. His shot is punched away. Second shot covered up by Kevin Entma, who gets a much-needed whistle. Larry Smith skating back to the Mayhem bench, and we're going to have a media timeout. That last penalty called against Larry Smith was certainly questionable. It looked like a fairly clean hit into the corner boards, but he was given a penalty for boarding. And the Mayhem were able to kill it off well. Mayhem improving to 4 for 6 on the night on the PK. Both of Fayetteville's strikes have come on their man advantage. 14:03 yet to play in the third period. 2-2 is your score. Quick look around the SPHL. Evansville up 2-1 over Knoxville at the moment. Still scoreless in Birmingham between the Havoc and the Bulls, and Roanoke up 1-0 over the Pensacola Ice Flyers. Down in the Tallahassee, or rather the Florida Panhandle. So the line which opened the scoring tonight, Josh Kuzno with Josh Keplinger and Danny Caesar out there for a defensive zone face-off for the Mayhem. Venance Lorenz drops the puck, and it's taken by Huffnagel, who gets it back to the point for a quick one-timer by Ross that's stopped by Entma. Huffnagel trying to draw up another play, communicating with Travis Jake prior to this Fayetteville face-off in the offensive zone. Huffnagel gets it, delivers it back to the same spot. This time the shot misses the net. It was just high by a few inches coming from Ross. Now Keplinger at center ice. Stick handling. He concedes possession to Tim Keelik, and now it's Joe Mitchell weaving in down the left side. Mitchell will try to rattle it back to the blue line. He gets it back to Ross. Now Zach Urban inside of the Macon trapezoid fighting for possession. It rolls out along the half wall. It's redelivered in behind the Macon cage. Tim Keelik will backhand it to the blue line. Ross, Jake, wrist shot, stick save Entma. Puck rattles off the Warrior dasher boards, and Caesar throws a saucer pass outside of the reach of Keplinger. With it behind his own net now is Danny Taroni, who's not had to make a save in a few minutes now for Fayetteville. Puck's been flown out onto the tape of Brian Bowen for the Marksmen, right side. His shot misses the glove side post of Entma. Collected by Stepan Timofeyev in front of the player benches. He slips one through, the Mayhem on it offside, and the whistle blows. Stepan Timofeyev, the FHL's Rookie of the Year last season, played for the Elmira Enforcers. Had a great rookie campaign. I was hoping that he's able to continue his successes at the next level. He had the lone assist on Jimmy Soper's preseason goal 6 days ago out in Birmingham. Rennie Hunter from center ice fires it wider than that. Soper cuts it off, puts it back behind the goal. Timofeyev puts it in front, sent on goal by a Fayetteville defenseman, and that was a just kind of a bang play. I don't think that was intentional by any means, but it certainly was not the way that they drew it up. And Rennie Hunter sends the puck off of Soper's stick. He blocks the clearing attempt by Timoni, who's got to get back into his net. He goes down, and a penalty is going to be called against Fayetteville. Caleb Cameron was cross-checked, and the Mayhem will get a rare look on the power play here. They've only had one opportunity all night, and they're about to get their second. So Darian Hamilton is going to have a seat in the All-State bonding penalty box. Cameron's going to take the draw. It's going to be a very important one here. And to the right of Danny Timoni. Cameron loses his helmet, and Joe Mitchell ends up with it on his stick, and he's going to drive to the front of the net trying to split the defenseman. Davidson with a good job back checking. And then Minerva gets right into Joe Mitchell's face. Got a few good high-end short-handed opportunities tonight. Mayhem Power Play is brought to you by Wild Wing Cafe. We're going to take a defensive zone face-off now. Just like the first go-around, Nick Minerva, the only defenseman on this 5-man unit. Certainly showed promise in his first professional season last year, Nick Minerva. Darius Davidson takes over possession in behind his net. Minerva's got it on his stick now. We'll give it to Caleb Cameron on his left. Cameron sidesteps Keelik, flops one into the left corner boards. And now it's Lesage who's got it. Surrounded by Mayhem players on all sides. Steven Pirog leaks it free. Sumalitas will roll it back to Minerva at the line. His shot redirects wide off the stick of Cameron. Davidson's shot is blocked, and the puck's been cleared all the way down. Bounces off the backboards. Nick Minerva's got it. He will carry in behind his net and then send it back there. Caesar now has it. Sumalitas to the bench along with Minerva. Soper and Urban are out. And the Mayhem's second power play unit hits the ice. Jimmy Soper down the left wing. Keplinger from the left corner. Rattles it around. And it's kicked back to the line by Ortiz. Urban salvages possession. Caesar's pass is outside of the reach of his former Knoxville Ice Bears teammate, Marcus Ortiz. And Entma will send it in behind his own net. Zach Urban has control there. Only 22 seconds remain on this Mayhem power play. Here comes Keplinger. Keplinger swivels in across the Fayetteville blue line. Dumped in off the backboards by Jimmy Soper. The puck's been cleared past Urban and all the way down. Entma's well out of his net. We'll just handle it safely and give it to Urban. Entma this time makes a pass out to Jimmy Soper. The marksman about to return to full strength here as Darian Hamilton is let out of the box. Soper slips around a couple, then shoots. Missed the right post. Keplinger bounces one to Ortiz at the blue line. He coughs it up. The marksmen get a 2-on-1. Bowen left side, delays Oliveri to the goal. Oliveri gets the pass. He's in too tight. And another opportunity for Cook. Will slide it out to the left point. Ortiz gives a shove to Oliveri. There's still a play going on, a game going on, and Ortiz and Oliveri don't seem to really care. Slap shot from the blue line, misses the left post. The referee keeps his arm down this whole time. And now Oliveri, or rather, Bowen will receive it in the corner and center it. Luke Stork had it bounce off his stick. Oliveri's slap shot is blocked by Caesar. And Ortiz takes another run at Oliveri. And the puck deflects off of a Fayetteville stick and out of play. Lots of helter-skelter over the last couple of minutes here. 9.5 to play in the third period. We've got a tie game. Fayetteville mounting a comeback. They trailed 2-0 at one point in this game and looked to be all but down and out. They were outchanced heavily in the early stages of period 2, but they have really tipped the scales and have tied this game back up. They've really used the power play to their advantage. They've had ample opportunities on the man advantage tonight. The Mayhem cannot say the same. They've only gone twice. Fayetteville's gone 6 times. And they've made the Mayhem pay twice. It's pretty amazing to me that there was no penalty called in that whole exchange between Marcus Ortiz and Dan Oliveri. That lasted a good long while, or Don Oliveri rather. That lasted a long time. So neutral zone draw in front of the Macon bench. Won by the Mayhem, and Stepan Timofeyev carries it across the blue line. He will whack it into the left corner where it careens. And Jarrett Cupp from the left point slides it slowly over to Zach Urban, who will just tap it into the left corner for Darius Davidson. Left off, Josh Cousineau's got it. He will send it towards Urban, who is beaten to it. Could be an odd man rush for Fayetteville. Pass from Max Cook goes off the stick of Timofeyev into the near corner now, and Zach Urban will pump it up to Darius Davidson. His pass is intercepted and carried on by Alec Marsh. He'll roll one into the Macon slot. Tapped away by Davidson. Here he comes down the left side. Darius Davidson waits, drops it. Timofeyev slides it over. Here's a shot, just missed the right post. Stephen Pirog just couldn't capitalize. Nice three-way passing play by the Mayhem as Pirog is sandwiched into the corner glass. And the Marksmen have regained control. Malcolm Hayes turns it over. Ortiz shoots, missed the net. Ortiz gets it right back. He will try to slide it back up the board. Sumalitis lost an edge. The Marksmen are out to center with it, and it's Darian Hamilton just getting rid of it and heading to the bench. Entma will slide it to Nick Minerva, who gloves it down to the ice. His pass up to Marcus Ortiz, who whiffed on the pass but recovered and got it back to Minerva. Now to Devine. His bid is intercepted by Joe Mitchell, who finds Bowen on the right wing side. And behind the net now. He fed it at the goal from a tough angle, stopped by Entma. It bounces all the way out to the neutral zone now, and it's fired back in. 8 minutes to play in the third period, 2-2 your score. Ryan Devine will slip one to Nick Minerva. Begins to race out of his own zone and accelerate across the Fayetteville blue line. Passes it to himself nicely, buys his team lots of time to make a line change here. Caleb Cameron is in deep, digging for it in between the skates of Nicholas Sage. Cameron gets it, looks to the front. He's got Timofeyev. He delays behind the net and holds on and feeds it back to Rennie Hunter, fresh off a line change. He centers, and we get a whistle stopping play. It's like a cross check, perhaps. Jimmy Soper, the culprit, and the Marksmen going right back to the power play. This is the 7th Fayetteville power play. Offensive zone penalties are the worst ones you can take. That's what will drive a coach crazy. Jimmy Soper just trying to fight for positioning in front of the Fayetteville net and set up a good screen. He loves to go to the front of the goal. Not a lot of players do, but he does. And just got a little bit too aggressive in the eyes of J.R. Strager. He's going to have a seat. The Mayhem back to the J&J's Heating and Air Conditioning penalty kill for the 7th time tonight. And the puck just pinballs on net, and Entma has to make a save just 5 seconds into the PK. The faceoff will remain inside the Macon zone. It's going to be Josh Kuzno taking another faceoff, this time to the right of Entma, his blocker side. It's kicked back to the blue line and given now to Nick DiNicola in the right circle. He will swing it back up to the line. McCloy across. Oliveri's shot stopped. Loose puck battled for in the slot and taken by Josh Kuzno, who was short of the red line, but it will not be an icing as the Mayhem are shorthanded and are allowed to change personnel here. Don Oliveri slips by Stathis Sumalitis, loses the puck. Cup tried to spring Sumalitis on a shorthanded breakaway. The puck never reached him. Looked like it might have gone off of a Mayhem player on the bench. 1:25 to go on this Fayetteville power play. And the faceoff will come back into the Macon zone. And now after some discussion, they decide that they're going to move the face-off out in front of the Macon bench. It'll be Stephen Pirog taking the draw against Max Cook. The two of them have gone head-to-head in the face-off circle pretty much all night. Lorenz drops the puck. Cook with a clean win on the draw. And it's going to be carried in across the Macon blue line. Jarrett Cup took Keelik down to the ice. Cup will put it behind his own net again. Urban with his head up, able to clear. Sumalitis pursuing Travis Jake. And meanwhile, the puck's taken behind the Fayetteville goal by netminder Danny Taroni. And the Marksmen have taken it out to center ice. It's Brian Bowen leaving it. Stork drops it off. Keelik drives down the right side. Bowen gets it from Keelik with his head up. Holds on to it. Outer hash marks, far circle. The centering pass was a little bit too hot to handle there for Stork. The puck pinballs off the side boards, and back in the vicinity of Travis Jake, who will whip it back out to Max Cook. Runs into his own man, storming down the slot. Timofeyev to the goal, is tripped. A penalty will be called. Will this be a penalty shot? Finally, the Marksmen get their sticks on it. Penalty shot. J.R. Strager signaling to the neutral zone logo. There will be a penalty shot for Stepan Timofeyev. The crowd fired up for this opportunity here. Stepan Timofeyev, the 22-year-old. The 24-year-old Russian from St. Petersburg, the reigning FHL's Rookie of the Year. With an impeccable opportunity to put the Mayhem back in front. Timofeyev one-on-one against Danny Taroni. Picks up the puck at center ice and comes in slowly, right down the middle. Timofeyev shoots, stopped by Taroni. Timofeyev tried to go glove side, and Taroni just barely got a piece of his glove on the shot. So the Marksmen will remain on the power play. Soper is in the box for another 28 seconds. Boy, would this place have been electrified had Timofeyev managed to strike there. Huge stop by Danny Taroni. Remember that save, folks. 2-2 your score with under 6 minutes to play in the third period. Half minute remains on this Mayhem penalty kill as Kuzno just slipped it on goal following an offensive zone face-off. 1 second ticked off the clock. Kuzno will take another face-off here. This draw is going to take place between Taylor McCloy and Josh Kuzno. The puck drops, Kuzno with a clean win on the draw. Devine floats it over off the Courtyard Marriott dasher boards, and the Marksmen will get one last opportunity here on their man advantage as the puck's been speared into the right corner of the Macon zone. Ryan Devine with a huge body check into the near corner. Nick Minerva picks up the loose puck, but he can't clear it. It's given out of the deep slot for Tucker Ross. In the near corner again, it's recovered by Ryan Devine and cleared. Jimmy Soper flies back to the Macon bench. And the Mayhem complete a fire wagon line change. They've improved to 5 for 7 on the PK tonight. Ross's pass pinballs off the knee, it looked like, of Aaron Huffnagel, and now it's turned over behind the net. Look out. The Mayhem back on the back check. Stathis Sumalitis taking it away, and he will skate down his off wing and float a pass towards Pirog. It's too far outside of his reach, and Malcolm Hayes has it for the Marksmen. Hayes is met by Keplinger. Backhands a pass that floats too far from Joe Mitchell. And now Keplinger's back on it. Assisted on the Mayhem's first goal of this game. Pirog turning with it. It's pressured by Malcolm Hayes. And it's rattled back in around the end wall. Couldn't be handled by Entma. Ortiz, miscommunication, turned over to Keelik, who drives in wide behind the Macon cage. There's a loose helmet down there. They battle away for the puck in the corner on the near side of the ice in the Macon zone. Pirog still fighting hard for it, but the Marksmen are the ones who end up with it. They move it down. Pirog sliding it behind his net. Rennie Hunter gives it to Ortiz in the far corner. And his clearing attempt goes off of a Fayetteville stick and flies out of play. That flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. 4:04 to go in the third period. 2-2 your score. Evansville still with a 2-1 advantage out in Knoxville this evening. 6:18 left in the third period. The Thunderbolts candidates to be the most improved team in the SPHL this year under new head coach Jeff Bess, who is an outstanding recruiter and a pretty darn good coach from what I've heard. He was actually in contention for the Mayhem job several years ago. Came down to him and Kevin Kerr. Leo Thomas's predecessor. Kerr was ultimately the one who was given the job, obviously. And Bess already off to a pretty good start for the Thunderbolts, up 2-1 on the road in Knoxville. Last season was one to forget for Evansville. On the plus side, we know that Mayhem fans tend to not be too fond of the Peoria Rivermen. It looks like they're going to have a tougher schedule this year. Cameron winning the defensive zone draw. Timofeyev spinning around, searching for that loose puck. He's able to angle it off the glass and out towards the Fayetteville blue line. Timofeyev then took a run at Luke Stork. Harrison's body shot, big collision. Jarrett Cupp drives one into the Fayetteville zone. It's met first by Nicholas Sage. He advances it up the half wall on the far side. Now here comes Max Cook. Gets it to Luke Stork. Cook got across the blue line, had his shot denied easily by Kevin Etma. And Jarrett Cupp gets it to Soper, who will drop it back now to Rennie Hunter. Banks it to Cousineau, centers it. Here's a shot by Davidson off the outside of the right post. Puck is turned over. Timofeyev drives. He fires. That was Caesar, rather. Big save made in goal by Danny Taroni. And the puck is held alive skillfully by Jarrett Cupp at the blue line. And now it's been cleared. Look out here. A foot race is on. Devine is just barely able to win in that race for possession against Alec Marsh, or it would have been a headache for Kevin Etma. Now let's drop back to Travis Jake. Floats one off the stanchions. Caesar on the back check, trying to pry it back into Macon possession. Marsh with his palms uplifted. McCloy had the puck bounce right to him in the slot, gets a shot off, pad save by Etma, who kicked it out. And 2:40 remains in period 3. 2-2 remains your score. Travis Jake turns his head up ice and begins to enter the Macon zone. He carries it into the right corner. Ortiz slams him into the boards, and now it's Pirog who slides a pass just outside of the reach of Minerva. He catches up to it and fires it wide of the net, and the puck's going to be stopped by Danny Taroni. We'll take a whistle on a defensive zone face-off. The Mayhem will get a few fresh bodies out there for this opportunity. 2:25 to go in the third. 2-2 is still your score. Both of Macon's goals coming at even strength. Both of Fayetteville's coming with a power play, of which they've had 7 tonight. By comparison, Macon has only had 2. Fayetteville has done a much better job staying out of trouble. Stephen Pirog will take an offensive zone face-off to the left of Danny Taroni here. But the Marksmen have beaten him on the draw. And Malcolm Hayes sends it to his defensive partner, who has just cleared it out to the neutral zone. Dropped off from Cook. Here's a backhand shot. Kevin Etma the save. And he's got the puck in his glove. And we'll get another quick face-off here. For tickets to tomorrow night's game, folks, we'd love to have you. Zombieland night here at the Macon Centreplex. Visit the Mayhem website, MaconMayhem.com, or just swing by the box office tomorrow evening. Mayhem hosting the defending President's Cup champion, Huntsville Havoc. Darius Davidson on his horse. Flies into the offensive zone and centers it with a great pass, and Soper just couldn't get all of it, and it just missed the right post, did his shot. Urban's jumping effort to keep the puck in the zone did not work out, and it flutters now over Davidson's stick. The Marksman back in control. Travis Jake receives it, and he is flattened by Caleb Cameron. Huge hit on the reigning defenseman of the year. And Cameron takes another run, this time at Taylor McCloy. It's intercepted, and here comes Caesar, slicing in across the Marksman blue line. Dishes it off to his left for Jarrett Cupp, who puts it on goal. Save, rebound, another save made by Timoni on Kaplinger. Danny Timoni has been perfect in this period. He, on several occasions, has kept the Marksmen tied. A couple of big saves just moments ago, and who could forget the big penalty shot save he made on Stepan Timofeyev. A momentum-turning stop. Last year, the Marksmen never even managed to get to overtime against the Mayhem while playing in this building. The Mayhem 4-0-0 against Fayetteville at the Macon Centreplex last year. Max Cook winning the defensive zone draw. The Mayhem steal it right back. Devine winds and fires. A slap shot blocked by Marsh. And it's Cousineau who's got it in the corner, who releases it. Keplinger's shot is stopped. Loose puck on the doorstep, cleared into the corner, but not out of the zone. It's Keplinger. Cousineau looking for it in the slot. Now it's been cleared out to the neutral zone and beyond. It's Marsh driving right side. Alex Marsh lost the puck. And Minerva fights for it, lost a glove, but stays on it. Keplinger feeds it up to Devine. He gets it ahead to Stathis Sumalitis on his off wing, carries into the zone, takes a spill, gets back up, and Steven Pirog races over to keep the puck in the attacking zone. 38 seconds to play here in period 3. 2-2 your score. Puck squeaks along the wall, and out with it skates Fayetteville's Luke Stork. He's met with heavy resistance. The Mayhem back in possession of it. Marcus Ortiz had the second Macon goal of this game. Flown off the sideboards in front of the Marksman bench. Travis Jake has it on his backhand. He tries to hoist it out. Luke Stork gives him some help. Smith has it with a dozen to go in the third period. Has just dumped it back in. Kareem's right in front a bit dangerously, and Danny Tironi decides to take no chances and will just cover the puck up with his glove. Speaking of gloves, Nick Minerva lost one when he hustled back to help his team out defensively. And Kevin Etma has just slid it up to the top of the circle on the far side of the ice. Oh, I beg your pardon, that was a Fayetteville glove. It was Marsh. Minerva was in the puck battle with Alec Marsh. 8.2 seconds remain in the third period. 2-2 remains your score. The Mayhem are going to try to get one last shot off here, but we get a whistle. Perhaps Leo Thomas is utilizing his timeout. Jesse Kalecki is using his timeout here. Not necessarily a bad time to do it. If the Mayhem cannot find Twine in the next 7.3 seconds, we will have overtime. On the home opener. That'd be the second year in a row in which that's happened. Last season against Pensacola, the Mayhem mounted a comeback, tied the game 3-3, forced overtime, only to be bested in the shootout. They would then, however, go on to win 9 consecutive games. It would ultimately be the best start in franchise history. Both coaches have drawn up a play. Cousineau will take the most important face-off of the game up till this point. Will be countered by Max Cook, who's been excellent in the circle all night. The puck drops. The Mayhem win the draw. Larry Smith tried to get the shot through. It was blocked. Has a second chance. Is running out of time. His shot got blocked again by Cook. The whistle blew before the buzzer sounded, but I believe they will just allow this to go to OT. So 2-2 is the score. This game could not be settled in regulation time, which means 3-on-3 is necessary. And this is personally, I'm a huge fan of the 3-on-3. It's extremely exciting. Virtually every scoring chance is an odd man rush. And it's the same rules as last season, meaning if there's no goal scored in 5 minutes, we go to a best-of-3 shootout. Although I might have to jog my memory. It might have been a best-of-5 shootout last season, if I remember right. But either way, the Mayhem are going to want to try to end this in the sudden death frame. Last season, the Mayhem 0-3 in the shootout. It was not their bread and butter per se. And 2 strong goaltenders who have been on their game all evening long will attempt desperately to keep the puck out of their net for the next 5 minutes. Kevin Entma on one hand has been brilliant in his first game back in Macon in 6 months, and making his marksman debut tonight, Danny Tironi has been equally, if not more, impressive. Overtime hockey on the first night back First hockey night in Macon in 6 months. You gotta love it. The Marksmen win the draw. Stephen Pirog, Darius Davidson, and Nick Minerva on the ice for Macon. Travis Jake is pressured by Pirog, who had lost his patience with him. Jake allows Luke Stork to pass through, then sends it up to McCloy. Taylor McCloy advances it now to Luke Stork. Jake has it again. He circles back and slips one through. Luke Stork's got it. He's got a man driving with him, tries to filter the pass across for McCloy. It went off of a Mayhem skate. Jake has it in the left circle. He rattles it off the crossbar and it flies out of play. Jake tried to end that game right then and there with a snipe over the shoulder of Kevin Etma, and he just got the wrong side of the crossbar. Fired it a little bit too high. Would have been a 3-point night for Jake had he pulled that off. Caleb Cameron will take a critical defensive zone face-off to Etma's right, and he gets the job done. Zach Urban is under pressure, however, and he's sent into the board by Alec Marsh, and Urban gets it back. He spins away, loose touch. He catches back up to it and flutters a backhand pass on the tape for Danny Caesar. One-on-one against Oliveri. He goes wide. Caesar in the right corner now will rattle one around the boards, and Cameron will just allow it to come through past the blue line and reorganize. Caleb Cameron backpedals all the way to his own zone and floats a saucer pass outside of the reach of Caesar. Puck pops out to the Mayhem logo at center, and Tim Keelik spins with it. Soper hops on in Caesar's stead. He could get a breakaway. Soper to the goal. Jimmy Soper shoots. Blocker saved by Danny Taroni. Breakaway opportunity for Jimmy Soper, who's been snake bitten all night. And now it's Nick DiNicola. Swerves back into his own zone. 3:22 to go in the third period. Still 2-2. Here's Max Cook. Galloping down the right side, tons of speed. Cook sends it over. What a save by Etma. Sprawling over to his right, made the stop. And now it's Sumalides. Will weave back with it. Finds Jarrett Cup. Skilled puck-moving defenseman holds on to it. Waits for a lane to open up and skates across the blue line and fires. Glove save. Rebound hacked wide by Jimmy Soper and collected on the near side by Stathis Sumalides. Cup sneaking to the front of the net now to set up a screen. Sumalides has it. Cup gains a little separation from Nick DiNicola and sends it around the end wall. Both sides are fairly exhausted here. Cook never received that pass. It went off of Sumalides' skates. He'll now skate to the Macon bench. The Marksman back in control of it. Max Cook drops it back to Taylor McCloy. A well-executed line change by the Marksmen. They were able to swap all three personnel without conceding possession. Now it's dumped into the left corner. Getting right around to check now is Luke Stork. He drives and fires from a sharp angle, denied by Etma. McCloy's shot also stopped by Etma. Luke Stork goes into the corner again, slides it up to the blue line. Travis Jake holds it and gets it right back. Right circle, he fires and scores. Travis Jake, with the game-winning goal in overtime, has spoiled the home opener here in Macon. A 3-point night for Travis Jake. And the Marksmen have snuck away with a 3-2 victory and have snapped a 10-game curse, which dated all the way back to February of 2017. It's the first game they've won in this building since then. The crowd's certainly not happy with the officiating tonight, but the players who have stayed out on the ice to salute this opening night crowd are going to warrant at least one last loud round of applause here at the Macon Centreplex. Those remaining tapping their sticks, thanking this opening night crowd for their wonderful support tonight. It was one heck of an atmosphere here to kick off our 5th anniversary season in Macon. One heck of a game as well. Unfortunately, the Mayhem did not get the result they feel like they deserved. And for the second time, the Mayhem bested in extra time on opening night. Last season, it came at the hands of the Pensacola Ice Flyers. Started their season 0-1, but we all remember what happened after that. The Mayhem went on an absolute tear. We'll see if they can pull that off again. But folks, I'll tell you what though, when the Mayhem look back at some of the missed chances in this game, I can only imagine they will be filled with regret. So many opportunities gone by the wayside. There's too many to count. And Stephen Pirog hitting the inside of the right post. A 3-on-0 opportunity that did not go according to plan. Josh Keplinger being denied from point-blank range multiple times. Jimmy Soper on what appeared to be a tap-in, also denied. He was denied on a breakaway in overtime. Stepan Timofeyev denied on the penalty shot. This could have been an extremely high-scoring game, and it was not. I think that tells you a lot about the goaltending tonight. Both netminders were rock solid. Danny Taroni in his marksman debut gets the victory. Kevin Etma in his first game in 6 months handed the overtime defeat. The Mayhem falling to 0-0-1. The Marksmen improving to 1-0-0. Take one last look around the SPHL before we let you get going tonight, folks. Evansville was able to hold on for a 2-1 win in Knoxville tonight. Pensacola has turned their fortunes around. They were trailing 1-0 for a long while in this game and now hold a 2-1 advantage on home ice over the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs. Still scoreless out in Alabama between the Havoc and the Birmingham Bulls. That's been the case all night. That wraps up your Hampton Inn Suites out-of-town scoreboard update, the final one we have for you tonight. I'm going to recap this game for you real quick and let you be on your way. It started well for the Mayhem, relatively even in terms of shots on goal in period one, but the Mayhem had the edge in quality of scoring opportunity all throughout really the first two periods. Josh Kuzno finally broke the stalemate, 6:29 into period two. Received a centering pass by Josh Keplinger. And Marcus Ortiz doubled Macon's lead with a snipe on a 3-on-1 rush in which he had Pirog winding up on his left. He decided to shoot, and it paid off. He beat Danny Taroni, low blocker side. That was the last goal the Mayhem would score. It came 13:20 into the second period, and from that point on, it was all Fayetteville. Travis Jake, it was the Travis Jake show, really, folks, and especially on the power play. He had the first goal the Marksmen scored. Got the primary assist on the equalizer. And then in overtime, he ended up scoring the game winner. So a huge night for the reigning SPHL Defenseman of the Year, who's looking to have another big season here in Fayetteville. 3-2 the final score in favor of the Marksmen. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast tonight, folks, in spite of the outcome. The Mayhem look to be well on their way to another exhilarating season here in Middle Georgia. And we couldn't do it without your support, so again, thank you so much. Alex Von Coydel, the voice of your Mayhem. Unfortunate, the final outcome tonight, but we're so glad that hockey is back in Middle Georgia. The folks here at the Macon Centreplex, I'll tell you what, they could not be more excited for what is to come this season. Till tomorrow night, when the Mayhem square off against the Huntsville Havoc, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time puck drop. We hope to have you on board with us. If you plan on being here, visit the Mayhem website, maconmayhem.com, or swing by the box office for tickets. If not, join in, as always, on SPHL Live and on YouTube. Till tomorrow night, folks, Alex Von Coydel signing off, and enjoy the rest of your Friday.